This is gonna go so poorly. Ladies and gentlemen, to the Metal Ear podcast, another fucking podcast. Oh wait, I can't use that branding. Someone else already used that. I am your dying fetus in a sink host, Sea Lion. With me is my always angry and triggered and full of rage and salty little Fortnite playing person who's breaking all of his shit in the background.
What was that?
Fuck did you do, son?
I would like to say I bounced a bottle off the other side of the room. It bounced all the way back, rolled across my desk, and knocked everything off.
What a way to start.
Why am I fucking surprised? and with me is my radio-voiced
lies
larynx sex machine, according to his Twitch chat. Major trip hazard.
Yo.
I would.
You are a raging sex machine, though.
Yeah, I'm afraid
well,
so.
Now I know you're lying.
Well, no, it's become set in stone. It has become so canonized that it's gonna cause. It's not gonna cause a problem for you later down the line. It's anything. If anything, it's gonna,
jerk your ego off like your penis.
Or that, it's opportunities of a different kind. What do you mean, where is this going? It's going for 2 hours minimum.
Oh, God.
No, that's a lie. It's an hour minimum. We'll figure it out. We'll just go with it,
We're being
see what happens, sort of shit.
We'll make it up.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm holding you all captive in the server that
even though
Volk
I
owns,
entered first.
Despite the fact that Volk owns the server, even though the thing was my idea, but we still wanted to do a thing anyway and all that. Oh, well. How is
that's the point?
Exactly, and to the point we should get. Trip, how is your week?
It's been pretty shit, to be honest.
So nothing out of the usual.
Pretty shit.
Yeah.
In terms of work, I managed to get a coursework finished, which was due Tuesday.
Oh, savage.
I've gone straight on to the next one. It's basically my life at the moment.
And we're trying to engage people through the holes and canals in their ears that feed directly to the brain.
I'm not sure how interesting my course is going to be to some people.
No, I'm not necessarily saying that specifically. I mean, what have you been playing?
Civ 5, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried Darksiders 2 last week, and that ended really badly.
Oh no.
So, if you want me to go into that, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's a little consumer advice, actually. Never fucking buy the PC ports for Darksiders 1 and 2. My Christ.
Well, that's too late for me.
Yeah, I know. Oh my lord. Okay, so I absolutely love the games, Darksiders 1 and 2. They are fantastic. It's one of my favourite series of all time, and I'm super looking forward to playing number 3. When I get the time, obviously. Time is the biggest issue right now. But I'm planning on streaming Darksiders 3 blind maybe sometime in January after exams. And I'm super hyped for it. That being said, I've never been more disappointed with a PC version of a game in my life. Because the PC ports of Darksiders 1 and 2 are a buggy technical mess. And I've never encountered any problems with them on PS3, which is when I originally played them. I played them both through multiple times and never had any major issues. I played Darksiders 1 on the stream and encountered a game-breaking bug within 5 hours, forcing me to restart my entire save, so losing 5.5 hours of progress. And in Darksiders 2, I have a RNG glitch on one of the compulsory bosses that basically makes the boss immortal, and I can't kill it. And I haven't figured out how to get around that yet. And everything on the internet just says, yeah, keep doing it until it doesn't glitch. Well, that's fucking helpful. So
Well, how
my Dark
how
Souls
is-
2 run is dead, I think.
Well, how is the what specifically RNG related is causing the boss to be immortal?
So it's a boss where at 20% health, it's meant to have a little go down animation with an execution prompt above it, and you press that, and it finishes the boss fight. You don't get it in time; it goes back up and recovers to half health, and you have to kill it for 30% again. So the problem is, it goes past that 20% point and doesn't go down. And then when it gets to 0 health, it stops taking damage because it has no health left. So all of your damage is just reduced to 0, but the boss carries on as normal. And I say it's RNG because when one of the first runs I actually did it, I got it to that point, but I missed the execution, and then it glitched out. So it seems to be random, yeah.
That's that's beyond compliance. That is progression blocking.
Yeah, and I've never
Holy
encountered
shit.
it before on the PS3 version or the console versions, and I've only heard about this on being on the PC version. It's not the only bug either. In Dark Souls 2 Definitive, however you pronounce it, is notorious for this. Yeah, that's the one.
Definitive and War Mastered Edition.
Yeah, I like the names to be honest, but
I first heard them and went, no, you can't do that. But then after sitting on it for a while, I was like, yeah, okay. Like,
yeah.
who published Red Faction Guerrilla? Because the remastered edition of that is called Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered,
Oh no.
which is terrible. It just does not sound good.
Well, the developer is Volition.
They used to make the Saints Row, didn't
Publisher is THQ Nordic, the same people who published Darksiders, actually.
they? Oh,
yeah,
well.
they went into
Well, hey.
administration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I see why they're going funny with the names.
I put an image in the voice chat of the graphics comparison as well, because the PC version is notorious for being graphically horrible. The shadows are rendered improperly.
What is
some
that?
Some of the textures are awful. The lighting is off. Like just the PC port in general is awful. So, Darksiders, yes,
Jesus.
it's a recommended game. I recommend you go buy it, just for the love of God, not on the PC.
I think I have 2 on the PS4. I wonder if one is on there.
Play it on there. I don't think Darksiders 1 is on the PS4, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. They're it's the remastered editions. Maybe it is. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been looking at a lot of the promotional stuff that THQ Nordic have been doing. Like they've been sponsoring a decent amount of YouTubers who I watch on the regular, and they're getting them to play essentially all 3 good snippets of the Darksiders games. And I look at 1 and I go, hey, that looks neat. I want to play that. I look at 2, I was like, that looks really neat. I really want to get that. And then all the stuff to do with I inherit bias from the get-go. I am a massive fan of
Edgy shit.
that's
That
but that's
too.
not what I'm going on about. I'm a big fan of very competent female protagonists. I like Bayonetta,
I
and
was just about to say that, yeah.
practically all the characters in the Devil May Cry series is each of them could practically carry their own game from a personality perspective, and obviously Bayonetta is, with 3 coming at some point on the Switch, and 3's protagonist is Fury, and Fury is just this is something I've been sort of thinking about. A lot of the very stereotypical character action hacker slash protagonists, especially if they're female, is different variations of confidence, cockiness, and that sort of arrogance that is mostly because of Dante from Devil May Cry. So Bayonetta's cocky confidence is layered with stuff like sophistication and suave and smooth talking and using her sex appeal to empower her. And then Dante is just a cocky shithead who likes poking jokes and talking shit to the bosses as he's killing them. And Fury strikes me as from what I've seen, it's more she's having fun, but she's restraining herself, and it makes me extremely interested.
I think Fury is one of the 4 that's actually been the least explored in terms of character, so I'm really that's another reason I'm looking forward to it. She doesn't really have a presence in the books or the comics, or either of the first two games.
I should point out, though, in some of the promotional material I've seen, is that she gets a power-up where her hair turns to fire.
Of course.
Before that, like, her regular state is, like, just, like, dark red hair. A different, like, mode or something of hers is her hair turns purple, and then she gets a power-up and her hair turns, like, fiery. And I'm not the sort of person who will just instantaneously see a female character in a video game and then instantly, like, fucking go see if porn has been made of them yet. However...
Overwatch community...
I do think... Oh, God, the Overwatch thing. But I do think it begs the question, does the carpet match the drapes?
Oh...
Well, if it does, it's a health and safety concern is all, you know? Your hair's turning into fire.
Oh, Jesus.
And
Here we go.
you know...
I was wondering how long it was going to take before the generosity started in this podcast. It didn't take long.
Not even 15 minutes.
I was going to say, 14 minutes we've been going for.
To be fair, I thought it would have started, like, from minute 1. But technically, however, this podcast is edited means it could have just started from minute 1.
I don't know about that.
Well, I do. And we have a long future to establish how shit goes, I guess.
Oh boy.
I'm
excited
you
now.
Does that worry you about our natural progression in this relationship?
Mildly.
Any to play anything else over the week, Trip?
Apart from sinking far too many hours into Civ 5, not really. It's been a busy week.
All right, so Volk, week, go, spiel.
Oh
For
boy.
Honor doesn't count.
Fuck. I've been sucking the life out of me in school, but that's no secret.
I thought you were gonna go somewhere completely different with the start of that sentence. I'll be honest.
See, he's underage.
No, we're not doing that. Not from my end, unless if the conversation's already started. But besides the point,
that line that I just said is probably getting cut out in the edit. I should.
For Honor, Jing Jun's broken. Change my mind. Also, it's good to hear that they're finally balancing new characters. Like, holy shit, Shigoki's getting a rework, or a quote-unquote rework. Like, there's hope now.
Oh, does he not get to hug people anymore?
Well, we don't know. They were super vague about it, but they said that they're gonna work on it. Fuck, other than that, I've literally just sunk my life into Civ with Trip.
I am still interested in, like, trying to find the time to get into For Honor. And from, like, what little tiny bits and pieces I've seen, again, from, like, more creators who've sort of, like, dove back into it because of Marching Fire and all that, like, you know, because I played the beta before it launched, and it was fun, but at the time I just did not have the kind of money to buy a copy.
I think for $60 it's a bit much. If you want, you know, the non-starter edition. I think it's now down to $40 for standard, but like, eh.
But like, I keep hearing like stuff to do with like characters that were there from the get-go still haven't been properly like addressed by the devs in terms of balancing.
Yeah, that would be Shigoki and Lawbringer, which is who they're looking at right now. So
which one's Lawbringer?
The one I played. That's a lot of people.
The halberd
two-handed sword.
Big poleaxe man.
The one that strangles people and gets into
and says
daddy.
harder daddy. Yeah.
Harder daddy. What?
Yeah, they're finally addressing them, and hopefully we'll get a rework for both. But that's being too hopeful, honestly.
Yeah, Paragon's been waiting for a rework for Lawbringer for fucking months.
Same. I need it.
But is it just like sort of out of the like it's hopeless because it's just been so long and they still haven't addressed it, or is it specifically
no, it's because
Ubisoft
works off of Valve time, and Valve time, if you don't know, is fucking forever. So.
Worse than Windows time?
I don't know, because Valve time hasn't made shit in a while. That's like. And they haven't updated TF2. It took them a year to release Jungle Inferno, and that's another can of worms that I don't feel like talking about. So you know what? I'm gonna refrain.
Fair enough. Anything else?
No, other than future plans of Shadow of War. End my life. Bravewalker. and wasting my life away on stream. Casual plug, but oh well.
It's not casual, and it's totally fine and accepted. We own this fucking thing. We own this ship. It's us to decide which iceberg we sink this shit into.
This is my boat now.
My boat.
I'm
My boat.
now.
I am the captain.
It's the napkin.
The napkin. That's about it on my end.
My week's been fairly alright. I've mostly been diving into the Spyro remaster.
We know.
Yeah, how is that, by the way?
I literally, just on the stream that ended in this recording, ended like a couple of hours ago, I'm completely done with 1. I've completely 120%ed it, because that's the finishing percent. Yeah, I had like a little bit of like... I had a little bit of sort of fuckery trying to get the last like couple of gems and that, just from like 1 level. In particular, it was it's called Treetops, where essentially you have to use the supercharged mechanics to get to essentially other side of the map. So like there's like ramps, ramped walkways, and all that sort of stuff, and you have to like use momentum and gaining speed, and just try and get more time to run to essentially just get a long distance over and get the last couple of gems sort of stuff, which I struggled with for a little while, and hand on heart, full admittance, I fucking ended up looking at a video to see how the fuck it was done, and just the method just did not come into my mind, because I was just being like, I was overthinking it a lot. Like I was thinking like that the game wanted me to do like some incredibly like difficult, taxing shit, because I was like, oh, it's a old, it's an old style collectathon. I'd never played one before. I was like, it's these old games, they want you to like try and put the work in, because they want you to, feel like that your purchase had enough value that it could last you a long while. That's why old games are more notoriously difficult than a lot of new games. But no, I was being a fucking idiot and overthinking shit. So, but hey, 1's done. I really enjoyed it. If the art style is the same across all 3 games, which from what I've seen of promotional material it is, art style's fucking great. It's got a lot of the charm that the originals were going for, but pulls off with a lot of modern flair. Nice, because they're relatively simple games, but they pull off nice little added details that just make it so worth it. Like back in the day, I don't remember the little flame breath having any kind of effects other than the flame itself shooting out your mouth. In the remaster, there's a lot of nice little particle effects and fucking
and lighting,
texture, lighting and textures added to all the tiny little things, because essentially those 3 games are pretty good enough games in of themselves. I'd still take issue with the flying controls, and I hate how in its current state, and I own it on PS4 just for clarification, in its current state, you cannot change any of the controls in any way. And in the flying missions, up and down are inverted, but left and right aren't. And I'd rather the option to turn the inversion off.
Yeah, same.
There is a nice little sort of like sideways roll that acts kind of like a strafe they can use. That's a lot of fun. I didn't use it all that much, just because I felt like a lot of the projectiles and shit that I had to avoid was just easy to just jump over. But I've had my fun with 1, and I'll still be playing a shit ton of that. And I've poked around a tiny bit in 3, because 3 was the one I played the shit out of when I was a kid. So I just played the first 2 levels, just trying to get a feel for it again. And basically I went up to doing everything in the first skateboarding arena, and went, yep, I can wait till I'm done with 2 to touch this again. This feels nice. Well, it mostly feels nice. Personally, I think the skateboarding feels just a tad loose for my liking. But other than that, yeah, so far game's fucking great. Voice acting is amazing. I need to look into actually who's doing the voice for Spyro himself, because I think it's Tom Kenny still. Other than that, I've been because of Devil May Cry 5. I've been doing this thing. I haven't actually told anybody this. I've been doing this thing where I'm mostly playing 3 from the HD collection and 4 on the PS4. just to sort of like keep me in the mood and keep me excited for when it eventually comes out. Other than that, I've been still working a shit ton on like edits. I'm working on a commission from a mate for 3 videos. I think like the first half of the first video is just 100% completely done, and I'm on the second half, like sorting out pacing and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot of fun because I've never really edited the kind of video he wants me to edit before. Volk will know what I'm talking about, where if you're familiar with sort of like the general pacing and tone and kind of edits of Dr. Lalv's Super Pro Engineer and Super Pro Soldier.
Kind of like Lalv, or if you guys watch anything For Honor based, I would say something in that range would be like Jackal. Like Jackal's pretty notorious for that shit. Of just making like joke edits and having good pacing.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm aiming for anyway.
How's the Detroit review coming?
It's coming. Okay, I have been trying to say this from the get-go, but I never like making promises about video releases anymore because I just can't hold to them. Shit gets in the way, and then I get more pissed off, and then I go, well, I don't want to work on this if I'm pissed off about it. So I end up leaving it for longer. But I have a very soft, very non-stringent, self-imposed deadline for the Detroit review to be out before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
If not
That's
on
quite
Christmas,
soon, yeah.
essentially. If it's close
That would
enough
be a
to
damn
Christmas
good
and I
Christmas
finally get
gift, though.
upload, I'll go, fuck it, this is a Christmas gift.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's like this is a Christmas present to all of us. That'll
It's a
be
Christmas
fun.
present for people to see a idiot with not too much free time, but just enough free time complain about a fucking video game.
Isn't that what we're doing every week now?
Yeah, that's kind of how it looks.
Well, that's the thing. If we aren't able to if we somehow aren't able to establish it during podcasts, then oh god, the people are in for a shock if they come from like think of it this way, if they come to like our Twitch pages or like our fucking minor Volks like YouTube stuff.
That's a mistake.
Like, from the podcast, they're gonna quickly find out it's like, hey, these guys just seem to bitch a lot, and we're like, yeah.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
I'm afraid we're not creative enough to come up with any other kind of shtick, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I literally, my life is just me bullshitting and bitching about things that I don't like. So I'm sorry, I guess.
I say don't apologize. I just say
Fuck 'em.
just sit with it. Sit with it for now. See what happens later on, I guess. I mean, it doesn't help when we're like self-imposing things that just make us generally vile to hear and be around.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, when's the Doom run returning?
Oh god. If it works.
Fucking already have established this shit. It doesn't work anymore. The
Yeah.
run's a bust. The game does not fucking work. And as much as it pains me, it just doesn't work. So my alternative was like, I could do something completely asinine and self-imposed, or I could actually just, play a game that is difficult in itself, and Shadow of War is that. I'm gonna do it on Gravewalker. I'm gonna hate my life because I haven't played the game in how long? Like, yeah, I haven't played in 6 months.
I used to play that game on the one below Gravewalker and I got my shit pushed in, so good luck.
Oh,
I
Nemesis.
did it before.
Yeah, Nemesis, that's the one.
Personally, that was one of the few ways where I actually managed to have fun with that game, is when I set it up to Nemesis.
Oh yeah, it's very fun. It just
Normal
kills
mode's
you
a
a lot.
joke. Nemesis is actually fun, and Gravewalker is like... It's not insanely difficult, but it is pretty difficult, but it's also enjoyable, comparing to
Okay.
Doom.
The fact you don't lose your progress when you die is kind of a bonus.
Help me. Oh wait, no, I'm already saved. I don't have to do it again.
Think of it this way: my life will feel a hell of a lot better watching your life crumble to pieces during those streams.
Fucking
Thanks,
sadist
friend.
over here.
Love you too.
Oh, excuse me. So, who are the people that are getting entertainment from me? Literally fucking yelling at my screen when
That's fair.
practically anything was happening in Detroit.
That's fair.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but does Detroit last more than a day? Hold on.
Yes, it did. In fact,
No,
lasted
I
a
mean
couple
in
of
total
days.
playtime. In total playtime, how much time did you spend in that game, hours-wise?
it felt like years.
How the fuck do you think I'm gonna feel? I'm probably gonna be feeling decades or centuries, guy.
Well, put your dick away for now. We're moving on to the news.
No,
You can't.
I don't wanna.
You can't slap your penis on the weather green screen. All right. We got some shit to address.
All right, now I got that out of the way. Let's get on to the actual shit.
I'm just imagining now if an actual fucking weather forecaster on the news actually did that, and people are just, like looking at the green screen is like, is it going to be snowing in Gloucester or? Oh no.
Oh no, that's a storm that I don't want to be in.
It's snowing on Moss Side.
That's what you call a white Christmas.
Oh no.
Hey, it's the holiday episode from the get-go, I guess. This is the holiday special of the podcast.
This is a mistake already.
Open your presents.
Santa, is that for me?
Open your presents. What do you get? Neglect.
What do you get, my child?
My child, I didn't want it. It's your responsibility now.
It's yours
no
now.
backsies. It's like fucking King of the Hill. Instead of pocket sands, just pocket child. You just throw it at their face.
All right, do we want to take digs into the Game Awards? I'm fucking lost here.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of pocket monsters. How painful was that tangent? Not enough, clearly. So,
Sorry, my bronchitis thinks that's cancer.
is that a Pokemon?
Oh, that hurt. That physically hurt.
Speaking of physically hurting, how Mr. Mime looks in the Detective Pikachu movie.
Oh god.
No, I'm assuming we've all seen the trailer.
Yeah.
No, but I've seen images of it.
Well, it's in the little topics channel we have if you want to just watch over it whilst we talk about it. This is actually good because maybe we'll get some sort of live reactions to how some of the Pokemon look. I think that's a good
my
thing to
body
do.
trying to kill itself. Yeah, this is fine.
Wow, is it really that bad for you?
My fucking bronchitis is like saying no.
Well, Ryan Reynolds stars as a talking Pikachu, who is apparently the world's greatest detective, and I
only hear Deadpool.
yeah, that's what I've been getting from a lot of people. Is like I just hear Deadpool, and partly me thinks like, that's like it's Ryan Reynolds in an animated character role, which is partly what's doing that.
Yeah, because we don't see much of his face anyway.
It's mostly like in the beginning where it's like, I know you can't understand me, and all this sort of shit. It's just like, it's unfortunate that as good of movies as Deadpool is, Ryan Reynolds is not gonna be able to escape that role.
Yeah, like he's now just Deadpool for life.
Which is good or bad depending on
fair,
your
to
view.
be honest.
In my view, bad. But the thing about this thing that actually like bewilders me is that you've got Warner Brothers and obviously Nintendo, and I can't remember the like studio specifically who's making it as well, who are basically just went, yeah, this is real, this is happening, this is a live action Pokemon movie, but it's not like I like this better than if it was like, oh, here's the live-action Pokemon movie with live-action Ash and live-action Misty and live-action Brock and Team Rocket.
What the fuck is his shoulders? Hold on. Mr. Mime has fucking dodgeball arms. Excuse me?
Yeah, he's always had that, but I guess in like the live-action stuff, it's more
It's actually
emphasized.
like dodgeballs.
Every single other Pokemon in that trailer, I am perfectly fine with how they look, with maybe exception to Psyduck just a little bit. I
His
just think there's
eyes
something.
fucking
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
me
It's
out
something. It's something
already.
about the eyes.
It's because they're
that-
glassy in comparison to like, you know, in the show where it's actually like matte color. There's no
Yeah.
substance to it. And now there's gloss on it, and I'm questioning my life choices.
It's also a tiny bit because of like the kind of like scaly texture thing they're going on for Charizard.
Ooh, yeah.
But honestly, I way prefer this than, you know, like a live action thing where like, you know, it's live action Ash and all that sort of stuff. And maybe like I'm not expecting the tone to be anything but, you know, sort of like not PG-13 but PG or like G or U rated. I'm expecting tone to be like that, but it would be nice if you were able to like, I don't know, if the writing stuff were able to like mess around and maybe poke some fun with things, just for like a nice sort of like tone variance. Because as much as I like Pokemon, do not want the equivalent of the old original show, or like the current show where it's like so heavily aimed at kids that it's like unwatchable for anyone else.
I mean, to be fair, looking at the trailer, it doesn't really look aimed at kids. I think it's aimed at the people who were kids when Pokemon was first around and popular, and now like our age. I don't know about you, but as a 12-year-old, I wouldn't want to see fucking Mr. Mime or Psyduck's face like that.
Yeah, that's a point. That is a point.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Although I rarely hold grudges or like get salty about things that we don't get, like the things that didn't really happen or things that get cancelled and that. There are a few exceptions to that. One of them is how unimpactful the petition was to get Danny DeVito to voice the Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about
like
that.
The edits going around of just like lines taken from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just put on a Pikachu when the video game trailer for it was out and about. Sort of like cemented that idea in my head of being, this is worth all the money in the world just to get Danny DeVito to voice a Japanese yellow mouse with a Sherlock Holmes hat on top. Like when you break it down like that, it's like, this is like, it reads across as like elevator pitches when you're high on acid.
Yeah, I was just about to say an LSD trip.
Like fucking the idea of Danny DeVito just like occasionally going Pika Pika.
I'm the trash man.
I'm the trash evolution. I start going in the ring and I throw out garbage Pokemon.
Oh no.
I know, you guys have any other underlying thoughts about this movie?
I hope it doesn't suck ass.
Yeah,
well, that's always the hope.
Same boat. I hope it's good. I've never been a huge fan of Pokemon, but if the ratings are good, I'll go and see it. But yeah, I hope it goes well.
I don't know, Pokemon's not booming anymore, so I kind of hope this does good. Like, in some way.
And that's saying something coming from a boomer.
Alright, you know what? Don't drink my monster.
I won't. You have no fear.
I said I don't drink my monster.
Oh.
In fact, actually, no, I have one. I just don't drink it because it's the MW2 one.
Well, you're a boomer enough to know which one it is and to actually have one within your house.
I know why it is. I know what it is because I can turn around because it's a fucking collection to me. Because we've had it since MW2's launch. My dad bought it and he's like, you know what, you can have this. I'm like, this thing's fucking old. Why would I want this?
Is it an unopened can?
Yes, it's an unopened can of Monster that sat on my dresser for like no, not even 3, that's a fucking joke. Like, maybe 8 years.
Okay, you need to keep that thing in fucking cold storage, and when you turn, like, don't sell it when like hard times come around, or if hard times come around in terms of money. Fucking just sit on it, just wait it out until you're like 50 or something, and after the release of like that year's, literally like a month after the release of that year's Call of Duty, less than that, even like 2 weeks after the release of that year's Call of Duty, stick it on eBay for like 200 quid.
Assuming that eBay is like even a thing in 200 years times. Not 200 years, fucking
200. You're optimistic.
I'm dead.
No, I'm sorry, Volk, you're a boomer. I'm afraid you've got maybe 2 decades.
I've probably got 3 years, honestly.
I mean, it's not helpful when you're self-imposing salt into your like minute-by-minute diet.
Seemingly every time I play Civ now, it's like every other run, I'm spawning with like 4 nodes of salt. You see, I don't get salty. They come to me.
They come. Salt just like.
I don't get salty. Salt gets me.
Okay, so are you saying that you are the equivalent of sugar, and bees and wasps are just knowing you're nearby and just are instantaneously drawn to you?
Well, I mean, you could say that, or you could just call me a pussy magnet for salt.
If you walked within 5 miles of a slug, the slug explodes.
Shit, that sounds brutal.
You are the ultimate exterminator of mosques.
Speaking of exterminators, Prima Games is shutting down after 28 years of doing what they do. And
Yeah,
I wasn't too surprised, kind of. Like I just hadn't heard of Prima Games doing much like nowadays, but they are still they are still releasing. They're going to release a guide for the new Smash Brothers game that's coming. But I did not know that they were like going for 28 years. They started up in like I'm trying to do my maths right. That means
like what 1990?
Yeah, I own the Dark Souls Prima Games guide, Dark Souls 3 specifically.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I own that.
I can't even find it on eBay.
What monster?
What?
The monster can.
Well then, I guess you're going to be selling it for
I
$1,000
might.
in a few days. See,
Fuck.
we joke. I seriously see there being like a good few people out there who would totally.
Oh yeah, someone will buy it.
Who
Oh,
would
yeah, no,
totally buy
definitely.
it for an extraordinary amount of money. But,
I just love the idea of selling somebody a monster can that is like $1,000. The thought about that when this thing is fucking ancient.
why is millennial humor so weird? It's because they're selling Monster on eBay for an extraordinary amount of money.
No, I'm just a dumbass.
How do it extort boomers? Sell Modern Warfare 2 monster cans on eBay. Forget trying to like do credit card scams with Fortnite. Old ass monster cans is where it's at.
Speaking of Fortnite, should we move on to the Game Awards?
Can I please rip Destiny 2 a new one?
Oh, of course.
Fucking trip, I'll let you take this one. I found something for you, Dom. Best performance was awarded to an individual for voice acting. The top one is for Connor in Detroit Become Human
Yeah,
as Brian
that-
Deckard.
Now.
To be fair,
Connor and Hank
Connor was the
are
best
the
part of the
only
game. Yeah.
great bits of Detroit.
I don't disagree with that.
In my mind, there are just so many overwhelmingly bad moments, and then the good moments come with those two characters.
Yeah.
And I would honestly, genuinely like it if he got awarded for that. He did an excellent job.
I completely agree. Like, Connor and Hank were basically the only good part of Detroit, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I do think Brian Deckard, is it Deckard or Deckard?
Deckard
I have no
is
idea.
his
I
name.
think
It's-
Brian deserves it anyway. I think he did a really good job.
So,
Game of the Year. do we
I
wanna
guess
talk
let's
about
just go
that?
from the top and see if there's anything you want to
Yeah.
discuss. Because to be honest, I'm quite happy with the current Game of the Year nominees. Like, I'm
Well,
not the
I'm-
biggest fan of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I think the others are worthy. Like, I don't have a problem with any of them really.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I don't have a problem with... okay, I slightly have a problem with Red Dead Redemption 2 being on there, but only because...
It's so new.
Well, yeah, it's so new that your
Yeah.
question's like, okay, is someone being paid off? Because I don't see how, like, all these other games have had time, people have had time to, like, digest and properly think about them, whereas it strikes me as either A, someone got paid off, or B, it's a Rockstar game, so everyone automatically assumes it to be great. Now, to be fair, I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2. I have heard a lot of good things about it, but it's just that it's so new that it's just like...
Yeah, I agree. I
How?
think there should be something for next year, maybe. That seems like
Yeah.
a long time away, but
Yeah,
probably
no,
people
I
have
know
forgotten
what
about
you
it,
mean, but like it's a long game. That's the perfect amount of time for people to like
Yeah.
digest it. But I've not played Celeste. I really, really want to play Celeste.
from what I've seen, it looks amazing.
I also have not touched God of War. I've seen like a couple streams of a couple little bits, but nothing spoilery, which I'm surprised at. I thought I would have gotten spoiled heavily enough from it by now. But no, I voted for Spider-Man, because that's the one that's out of that and Monster Hunter World, which are the two on the list I've played. That's the one that's struck a chord higher with me.
All right, now on to
now onto
the good
this
shit.
This is going to be.
Here's where
best
here's
ongoing
where
game.
we start getting into some shit.
Yeah.
So, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Nominee number 1 is Destiny 2 Forsaken. Now, I will let Volk hold it
have
in
the
for
floor.
just a tad. For just a tad. Trip, what's your experience with Destiny?
My experience with Destiny has only been through third parties, so I've been watching streamers and Achievement Hunter mainly play it. So I've never played it myself. But from what I gathered, it's a very grindy game. And I've heard Volk and Kim talk about the story of Destiny 2 a lot on stream and how it sucks. So he knows a lot more about it than I do. But from what I can tell, it seems like a half-decent game, but whether it's actually worth a nomination at the Game Awards is another conversation.
I agree. I have not played Destiny 1. I bought Destiny 2 on release and wasn't able to trade it back in, and honestly, if I could, I would have, because it's just the thing of I didn't like where the game was going for me personally. I thought the story wasn't engaging enough to compensate or overshadow the grind. It's just not what I liked. Like, to me, the entire game was go to A, shoot things, now go to B, shoot things, go to C, shoot things, okay, next mission, and then repeat.
Or like something like that. And just,
well,
it's
very
the
rarely.
same thing over and over. Yeah, I agree with that. Here,
like
alright, can I just give my fucking piece? Because I feel like my seat is on fire right now.
Yeah, go for it.
This fucking game has caused me enough shit as is. Okay, story-wise, the game makes no fucking sense. Like, let me roll it back to the Warmind DLC, where nothing fucking makes sense. Anna Bray is supposed to be dead in Destiny 1. We didn't know this because it's through the Grimoire, which is fucking lore. So, she's supposed to be dead. What happens? She's fucking apparently back and is the main character of the second DLC, even though she fucking died before we even knew about her existence. Like, what the fuck? They're making... okay, how it seems right now is that they're making story on the fly. They're not sticking to current lore, and they're just kind of saying, fuck that. And they're just kind of making up whatever sounds good in their head. And sure, that would be fine if they didn't have something already pre-established. So, it's kind of annoying. Also, Forsaken itself, okay, it did a thing, it made the game better, that's fine. But here's my problem with it. It's kind of like, I said this on stream, where it was, there is only, like, X amount of barons. I don't know the exact number. I think it's like 6 or 8. And these barons, we have no idea who they are, as in their character-wise. Like, all we know is that they killed one of our favorite characters, and we want to go kill them. They are completely faceless, basically. They don't matter. There is no build-up to them. All we know is that they killed Cade, and that's it. So, in terms of story, Forsaken is fucking bland, unless if you're looking at, like, Dreaming City, which, that's a mess in itself to me, but that's just me personally. As to the grind is hell now, to me at least, because it takes so much time, and, like, actually going to do the raid is just such a daunting task now, it seems. And it's mostly mechanics for the final boss, too. Like, all the other bosses require you to have half-decent weapons, like, Black Hammer, not Black Hammer, but what's... Whisper of the Worm, because Black Hammer, Black Spindle are basically the same thing as Whisper of the Worm, they're just changed versions, because Black Hammer was the original, the Black Hammer was overpowered, so they made an exotic version that was nerfed in the later released DLCs. Besides that, it requires half-decent gear, and then the last stage I can kind of just assume is, like, run through an area with the Heart of Riven, and that's it. So, as to how this should have been for best ongoing game, Destiny has been in fucking ruins since launch, honestly. It didn't do so well on launch. Forsaken revived it, but has it been best ongoing game? Hell no. Because they kind of left it there, just, kind of updated it with DLCs. That was all they did. Having it as a best ongoing game is a fucking joke.
I haven't watched the videos in of themselves, but Yongyi has released a couple of videos about, primarily to do with Destiny sales and how Activision and Bungie has responded differently.
Yeah, they say that it hasn't
sales
sold enough. And I put a video in your server even talking about that, where it was from Dado saying that, like, apparently didn't see or like reach the amount of marketing that they wanted to. Like they didn't get enough copies of Forsaken sold, which that shouldn't be right.
It's not surprising.
To me, that's not right. I think that they hit the mark on Forsaken in terms of sales, but like...
Well, personally, it's only surprising in that the whole thing of, like... Wasn't it like the Activision's shares, like, dramatically took a massive plunge?
Oh, I know. No. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I completely forgot about something, too. Like, the release of, on release of the game, they had XP gated people so that you wouldn't be earning X amount of XP.
I heard about that, yeah.
That shit was the most annoying thing I think I've ever heard. And holy shit, why is that a thing? On release, if you completed the story, it would take you even longer to complete the game in general. Because of how you getting to max light to get to the raid. That took... Okay, that's reasonable. That means you have to hit max level, though. Not getting to max level in the story means that you have to go farm out strikes, or whatever, like, endgame content that you want to do that's not a raid. So that being just going into strikes or Crucible even, which means that's even more time to get into levels. And honestly, I heard a friend, like, he said he would, like, took 4 hours to get a level, which is fucking ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell.
And the fact of the matter is that they started, like, what was it? Red Bull was a way to get extra XP. Like, going to get a Red Bull can, they would give you more XP for, like, codes.
Fucking...
and that was enticing to people.
Doing the same with Shadow of War for fucking Tortino's pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it's like
that's...
fucking G.R. Tolkien is just rolling in his grave, just like... These fucking pizza rolls is on my fucking Middle-earth name.
Yeah, before I fucking decide to turn this into a, like, 10-hour rant, I'm gonna fucking stop myself and move on to the next game, because I think we all have something to say about that.
Yeah, well, kind of.
Fortnite.
Well, the next nominee for Best Ongoing Game is Fortnite. Now, if we're gonna talk numbers, you cannot compete with Fortnite. In terms of raw numbers, in terms of raw amount of people playing, there is literally no other video game on the face of the earth that has ever existed right now. Not even I think it's like it's beaten Warcraft's numbers. Like
it's beat League.
To be fair, like, when was the last time you saw PUBG being played on like a stream or something or a video? I remember the days when both of them were really popular.
Last time I think was 4 months ago.
Yeah, it is just completely taken over, and I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. For the most part, it is actually a well-made game. It is a well-designed and well-made game for the most part.
On the time of recording this, I'd just like to point out that Fortnite is top game, but second game would be Pokemon Let's Go, and this is something that is just brand new, everyone's playing it. It is fucking 60k viewers more.
Yeah.
And League of Legends, which is an already well-existed game, it has a well-founded community. I'm not going to say anything else about that, but it is doubled. It's double its size.
Seriously?
74k viewers to 150k.
Jesus Christ, I didn't know that.
Fucking dwarfing them.
Now, I feel like it would... I feel like both this wouldn't be inaccurate, but I do feel that it would be too easy to just shrug this off as, children, you know?
Yeah.
It would probably not be entirely inaccurate, but that feels as too easy of an answer for me personally.
Yeah, no, I agree that a larger percent of the player base for this game is under like 16s or 14s, like larger than usual for these kinds of games. But there are plenty. That's not to say that that's like everyone. There are plenty above like adults that play it.
Yeah,
so,
no, I have two roommates who have play it on a good amount of occasion.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest, because personally I don't like the game, but mainly because it's so popular. Like, there's nothing wrong with the game in general. It's just I see it everywhere. I can't escape it. It's just in my face all the time on YouTube or Twitch, recommended, or even on Facebook. It's
personally,
I think partly because it's just. I think that's why I don't like it. It's just because I just see it everywhere. So, I don't know, that's just a personal opinion, really.
Honestly, I haven't seen it a whole lot, but in my end, it's kind of what's the word? No, not even what's the word. What's the statement? It's the statement that's like Battle Royale is just fucking overdone at this point. And that's a topic.
Yeah.
That's another topic in itself. But I think Fortnite right now, the only reason why it's, even in the state that it is now is because of Battle Royale. You look at Save the World, and I actually like the way that looks. That looks entertaining. That looks fun. That looks like something I could dump time into like I did with Destiny 1. But the fact of the matter is that you strip away Battle Royale, the game's done. Like, there's nothing to it. There's no substance.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would argue though. Okay, the thing of like get different video game IPs and developers and all that stuff, just like haphazardly bolting a battle royale modes onto games is not a good idea, both from a design and business perspective, because you are the top three has been set. There is literally no room for anyone else. The top three right now is Fortnite, Black Ops 4, and PUBG. Before Black Ops, it was Fortnite, PUBG, and then whatever weird third one you really wanted to count. Like fucking Radical Heights.
Yes.
And fucking...
That game died so quickly.
Yep.
Fortnite has become the weird third one.
Yeah.
Sorry, PUBG has. Which is kind of boggling in of itself for me, simply because it's like they are the guys who introduced it to the extent where they were getting paid to go to Microsoft's E3 and, show off their game, which semi-ironically turned out to be the worst version of their game.
Yeah.
Was on the Xbox.
To be fair,
Crobcat's
though,
video on that was still fucking hilarious to me.
to be fair to Fortnite, as I was saying, it's actually well made, whereas PUBG is a buggy mess, to be honest. Like, I've played it a couple of times. I still can't believe I spent £30 on that game. But I bought PUBG, I played it a couple of times, and the bugs, the random killings, just infuriated me so much.
Not to say that Fortnite's perfect with its glitches.
No, it's definitely not.
On release, I remember the new season, it was absolutely fucked. Like, all the new content that they added in terms of, like, the interaction, like the gravity stones that was in the last season prior, basically just was taken out the game, because there was exploits with it. Fuck, even the shopping carts had glitches with them, where you could just get out of the skybox.
Flying off,
like,
yeah.
You could get into the skybox and no one would kill you. Like, they don't... The balancing is kind of an issue in my eyes, because they have Bloom. Bloom's not about, or is an equalizer to balance. If they had, like, fixed bullet spread, I wouldn't have a problem with the game, like, playing it, but they have Bloom to it. Bloom is a piece of shit in any game. Having random-ass aim is just ridiculous.
Going back to the topic at hand, though, would it be worthy of best ongoing game, as according to what it rates it by, outstanding development of ongoing content that involves player experience?
In my opinion, no.
I have played it once, and I just didn't like anything really to do with it. It was mostly like just the design was just not something I gravitated towards. But I should remind you that this is the Game Awards we're talking about.
Yeah.
The Game Awards, the one that is famous for the fucking walking hydro razor transformer thing.
Oh no.
That constantly got shoved down our throats 2 years
Why
back.
did you remind me of that?
Oh, it still is today.
Because it happened. It happened.
It still is
Okay.
today for me, honestly.
No, as much as I hate the game, I do believe that Fortnite deserves to be up there, at least as a nominee, because you just can't ignore it. Like, the numbers don't lie, but
the numbers,
personally, I don't like the game, and I don't think it should win, but that's just a personal opinion.
I think numbers do stand up, yeah, but I don't think, as in, content is necessarily my, like, prime for putting it in.
Yeah. Fair enough. Alright, going from one shit pile onto a bigger one. Do we want to talk about the next one?
Okay, well, this is the thing. The last time I touched this game was well before their next update. Well,
Yeah, the
well
update.
before the like update before that, where they like added like the housing and vehicle stuff to it. So No Man's Sky is on this list, and my main confusion as to why it's on this list was not that I didn't think they weren't putting content into the game again, but I thought it was like I thought enough people still fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Like it does still have a fan base, of course. It does still have a player base, but nowhere near enough to warrant a nomination
No,
for a
compared to the-
internationally recognized event.
Compared to the other games on this list, you see like Siege with 30 million or 40 million player base, and Fortnite, like literally the largest played game in the world right now. No Man's Sky doesn't
and
come
Overwatch
anywhere
still
near
having
that.
a consistent enough player
Yeah.
base as well as Destiny 2, despite
I
its
just
flaws.
don't understand this at all, because for all the benefits the next update gave to it, so I haven't played it myself because I saw the release of the game and the complete dumpster fire that was, and I just thought I'm not spending £40 on that.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard from other people, the next update actually did improve the game a significant amount. And for what it's
Yeah.
worth, Hello are actually trying to pull back this game, and they're putting effort into it. I don't know why they didn't do this at launch, and instead they just threw this game out there and then suffered the consequences. But
Yeah.
for what it's worth, they
especially
actually
didn't
putting-
help with their. Especially didn't help with their stupendous amount of radio silence during
Yes,
the backlash.
Yeah,
That especially pissed people off.
I just
Because they okay, this has always been like kind of a contentious issue, but there's no point in like sidestepping around it. Sean Murray fucking lied. Sean Murray
Yeah,
lied
yeah.
to people about
He
what
did.
their purchase was.
He's
I bought
definitely
that
did.
game and I returned it on like after 2 days of playing it. Like it was just a load of bollocks that they sold everyone, and the fact that it still has a player base to this day, I think, is a credit to the people who saw like good content within that.
yeah.
Also,
I think
I would like to point out the one achievement that No Man's Sky has made, and it's decreased fucking player count. No Man's Sky was the only game on Steam at one point or another, and this is the only game ever that has made it so that nobody has played it for a single day on Steam.
Seriously?
That is the only game on record that has had no player count on it
Jesus Christ.
for a single day.
Damn.
See, I think, to be honest, buried in this next update somewhere, and the game itself is an actual potential, but the problem
Yeah.
is that the release just ruined it. Like, if you forget the PR disaster, if you forget the release too early or without any content whatsoever, and the whole Sean Murray thing, if No Man's Sky released like a couple of weeks ago, I reckon it would have been much more positively received, and it might actually be worthy of a nomination on here. Well, actually, it wouldn't be an ongoing game at that point, but you know what I mean. It might actually be
Yeah.
decent to play and worth putting some money or effort into. But as it
I
stands,
do wanna-
I just don't think it should be here. I think this game has just been it's been marred by its release, and no matter how much it improves, I just think that's going to stay with it for the rest of its development. It's never going to go away.
Definitely. I do want to go back. I do want to go revisit it at some point when I
Just to see
find
what the update's like.
Well, because I have a disc version that I found for like a less than a tenner at a CX. So like, yeah, I'll pick that up and play it when I can be asked to deal with what that game was.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like the whole like the base sort of like design of the game is still going to make me kind of like roll my eyes and just like not like it as much as other people might. But I still want to have it just there and ready just for the case, just to see what is there now. Because I like going back to games, even ones I hate, is barring very, very outstandingly terrible exceptions. Detroit.
I was going to point that out.
But yeah, I do feel a little bit for the developers because they went through a lot of shit during development. Their studio flooded and people were sending them death threats when they delayed the game by a month.
Yeah.
Like,
and then
that-
they got shit from release. So
I feel that, but no. When they delayed it for the month, they should have delayed it for longer. I think, and I think things would have gone a lot better. That being said, I mean, they shouldn't have got that shit. Like, I never understand that. Like,
Also,
where you feel about something so much, you feel the need to threaten the life of the person putting their time and effort and love into something. That's completely different. It's a completely different topic. I'm going off topic, but I just had to say, like, that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
Agreed. Yep, shitty people being shitty is always shitty.
does Sean Murray still work at Hello Games?
I don't actually
I'm
know.
assuming so. I'm gonna go look at his Twitter.
Founder of Joe Danger, No Man's Sky programmer. Yeah, he's a Hello Games founder. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I knew he's a founder. Yeah, and is at No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I do like that little extra thing he's got on his description, which is Volk. You might not know what this is referencing, but he's got on his description the Susan Boyle of video games. I do like that. I do like that quite a bit.
That's pretty good actually. But as for position on the Game Awards nomination list, yeah, no, it should not be there.
Definitely
Should
not.
be there.
Overwatch. Let's roll into that topic.
Right, this one's all you two because I actively avoid this game. Take it away.
I still like Overwatch
I don't despise
to some extent.
it.
Well, I cannot and do not attempt to play it on my own at any point, at any time of day ever, because that would just get me into just a bad mood. But it's it's there for it's there for when I'm want to play like a game that most people I know have, and will play it with other people and that. So I don't mind it being on there. I wouldn't have been surprised if it wasn't on there. I'm looking forward to Ash, which is the new character coming out. I'm looking forward to trying that. Ash looks like the character. Do you ever get those in some like multiplayer games where it's like you look at like a character or a class or whatever, and you look at their skill set and their tools, and you go, that's the kind of character that I want to, for lack of a better term, get good at, but know that it will take a shit ton of time and effort.
Yeah,
Ash is that character for me. Mid-range, fucking, like, that specific kind of rifle where it's like, one shot, you have to cock it again, another shot. Like, I like that design perspective. And yeah, Ash, I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, not surprised it's on there. I would be a bit more surprised if it wasn't on there, but nothing to really write home about,
Yeah, at least the new character isn't fucking hamster.
I only found out recently that the London team won the championship, like the Overwatch League championship, which I was
at the comp championship.
I was surprised that because I thought like just like when I stopped looking at the Overwatch like league, their like sort of esports stuff, New York Excelsior were just like pulling away to like no losses, like degrees of like exceptionalism.
To be fair, there's been a lot of
I look on Twitter. Oh yeah, I just looked on Twitter and it turns out, London's won. I'm like, yay, go Britain, I guess. I was just like more of the thing of like, not really interested anymore. I tried getting interested and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of upsets in esports this year, to be honest. So I'm not sure if you follow League of Legends competitive, but I keep an eye on it. But all of the Korean teams, which are usually like the best teams in the world, got knocked out in the quarterfinals of the World Championship this year, which was a huge shock to everyone. It was a massive upset.
Here's another topic of esports and Overwatch. Shanghai Dragons being actually known as the worst team in history.
Yeah, you told me about this.
I saw their record not too long ago. They
0-40. They got fucking dumpstered. And by the way, the highest win or the highest loss rate or loss streak, I guess you could say, in even like normal sports history is 22.
Oh, that's not good.
So seeing that they lost 40 is surreal. That's a really big margin right there that they just lost.
Yeah. Is there any information like how these teams are funded at all? Is it just like purely sponsorship, or is it like some Blizzard backing, or like country backing or anything? Do we know?
I would assume that it's personally funded.
Yeah,
so
some
would
are
I.
privately funded, some are sponsored. It depends.
The total earnings of Shanghai Dragons is 25K, by the way.
Is that
Wow.
like per player per year?
That's just their entire team's earnings.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah, that's
no.
not something you can sustain a living on. Jesus Christ.
No.
Yeah.
How many players are on a team though?
Let's see. Well, we have currently active players. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 active players. As in
Okay,
for
damn.
formers, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 former players.
Damn.
Also, I would like to point out that the majority is support players for formers. But in
Jeez.
terms of teams actually being or able to make money, I'm going to point to Boston Uprising here because they were pretty well known for being good. They made 225K.
All right, damn.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Outlaws made 75K. It's not great, but it's not horrible.
Yeah.
Who else did really good?
I imagine New York did with the I imagine they were able to get a pay rise or something.
650K.
Yeah, damn. But yeah,
I'm in the wrong business.
yeah.
Same.
I need to play video games for a living.
Holy shit, London Spitfire making 1.2 mil.
Oh my god.
Fucking hell. I imagine that's in advert with the recent win of the championship, but still, fucking Christ.
I would assume because their only sponsor is Logitech.
And then the final nomination for best ongoing game is actually the one I think should win is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
I would be perfectly okay with Siege winning because from what I've seen of although blah 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 poor launch is sort of a very common topic, especially amongst these games, like how we were just talking about No Man's Sky. But yeah, I'd say out of all those, Siege is the most quote unquote deserving. Just from I like the fact that Ubisoft, even if they fuck up on release, they will still try and keep a groundswell of their sort of fans and community.
Yeah, that's
because,
the thing. They proved everyone wrong because, as you said, on release it was not the greatest, but they completely redesigned the game from the ground up in between the beta and the release, which was phenomenal. When the beta came out, people were saying, "Oh, this game is going to be dead. No one's going to play this. This is awful." They completely redesigned it, and now it's got 40 million players, 50 million players, and they're constantly releasing new updates and new DLCs. And it seems like they actually care about the balance of the game, which is to be commended, to be honest. And I think it definitely deserves the win for this one.
Yeah, currently right now Siege has 65k players on Steam right now, just currently playing. That's pretty impressive. Also, moving back a topic to average earnings for the Overwatch esports players, Clockwork, an ex-TF2 player, his estimated earnings are about 18k. So I mean that's reasonable.
Yeah.
That's a fair amount.
Okay, yeah. I'm playing video
Fucking
games
left
for a
for
living.
Overwatch. I'm gonna hold back on that.
I specifically know people who are actually working in Ubisoft Montreal anyway, and just from a nice little it's just a nice dumb little moment of I personally get to congratulate mates who worked on a game for as much as I hate the Game Awards, the institution and what it does and what it stands for in of itself, it's still a internationally recognized awards ceremony.
Yeah, it's still the BAFTAs are fucking awful, but it's a BAFTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's also that. Anything else before we move on to the next category?
I want to discuss what's not on there. Because I think there should be 2 games on there instead of No Man's Sky and I don't know what, maybe Destiny. But for a start, fucking Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is an absolutely phenomenal game now. It was really unbalanced in the beginning. It was there were bugs, there were problems, but the development team, which is a small development team, by the way, nowhere near as big as Ubisoft, They have put so much time and effort into it, into balancing the game, into improving the bugs and the exploits, and just generally to shift out a load of content. They released the game with like 3 or 4 killers. There's now 13 killers, and there'll be a new one in next month. They constantly shift out new well-designed killers, because I think apart from maybe one killer so far, since the start, all of them have had like unique designs that have been really cool. And the most recent release, the Spirit, is actually one of the coolest. I really love the new killer, the Spirit. They're constantly trying to, because with asymmetrical games, especially something like this, there's always going to be balance issues. Like if you're doing the survive team with friends, when you can communicate with each other, it basically shifts the entire game in your favor. But for what it's worth, they are actually trying super hard to balance an already unbalanced game, and the fact that that doesn't get recognized in the slightest is just criminal, to be honest. Like Dead by Daylight is growing so fast, and there is no better time to play it. If you want to start playing Dead by Daylight, now is the time. There are still flaws in the game, of course. It's not perfect, but as far as like ongoing content, and as far as its own words, outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. As soon as I read that sentence, I think of Dead by Daylight, to be honest. And I can't believe it's not up here. I just can't believe it's not up here.
I do agree that Dead by Daylight should be there. It did have a rough start, but then again, like, so did Siege. You know, there's games on here that did definitely have rough starts, and I'm not even going to point fingers at No Man's Sky, because I don't think it even belongs on the list. But if I were to replace No Man's Sky, it would be with Dead by Daylight, because they've actually made a game from the ground up. It's had a long time coming. It should be on here.
Yeah. Considering it still has... It's been going for, what, 2 years now? It was released around this time 2 years ago?
2016, roughly.
Yeah, and considering the player base has only increased in size, I think that says a lot, to be honest.
Wait, no. It released last year,
Did it?
June 20th. June 20th on North America.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was longer than that.
Wait, no.
No. Was there like a early access or like
no,
beta
that's the console.
thing?
That was the console. On a year, pretty much a year exactly, Microsoft Windows had gotten Dead by Daylight, which was June 14th, 2016.
So it released on the Windows Store?
No, it released on Steam, but, functioning software.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about the console version of Dead by Daylight. Because that is one of the problems.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure the console version of Dead by Daylight is miles better than any version of the Friday the 13th game, which is essentially just Dead by Daylight, but
also
way worse.
In a lawsuit right now.
Yeah,
tied up in those shenanigans. Mostly because the writer is, having complications in figuring out which parts of Friday the 13th he owns. And the recent
really
update
weird.
with that was that he basically owns just the name Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually own what Jason Voorhees looks like. He doesn't own the mother gimmick, the mother's name, the Camp Crystal Lake name. He doesn't own the basic premise for the movie. All he really owns right now, that is hard confirmed that he owns, is the name Jason Voorhees.
So and just rename him.
They could just rename him and still keep the movie name Friday the 13th if they were to make another one. Like Basin Voorhees. Fucking, you know what I mean? It's that kind of a legal shenanigan. But yeah, I played that Friday the 13th one because it was on free for PS Plus for one of the months. I think we might still be in that month. I'm yet to check it for this month. I played it the second it was up for free on PS Plus. Could not get a match anywhere, and my connection and up and down speeds were fucking perfect.
Yeah,
and just could not get a match.
Was notorious.
I left that trying to find a match for an hour.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. So. The only other game I wanted to mention actually was Warframe. And although I don't
why isn't I haven't touched Warframe personally, but the amount of stuff I keep seeing being added to Warframe is just like, why the fuck is that not on this thing?
Yeah, I've played it very little myself, but I'm thinking about getting back into it. Although the grind, time is going to be my biggest issue. But from what I've heard, like Anna knows much more about this than I do. But from what I've heard,
can even speak on
the
it.
Time and effort that the development team has put into it, and the new content especially, and it's nowhere to be seen. It's No Man's Sky and Destiny should be Warframe and Dead by Daylight, and then you'd have 5 nominations I'd actually be okay with.
I'd like to say that it's been exactly a year since Plains of Eidolon got a release, which was the first open world, area that you could go into, and that was on Earth. Now we have one on Venus, and it's actually been exactly a year that they released it, and the amount of development that's gone into it, you could definitely tell that there was effort put in. And even then, there's been updates in between for new frames, like bug fixes and actual, more weapons and shit to do. Like, they kept adding stuff onto the game. It's not, they've focused all of their resources into this one update, and it's actually came out pretty good. You would think maybe...
What's the name of the developers of Warframe?
Digital Extremes.
Digital Extremes is the invisible kid of the Game Awards. Invisible kid. Never see what he did. Got stuck where he hid, fallen through the grid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What? Okay, now I'm thinking of fucking what the games on this list is the equivalent to which Metallica song. Now I'm just thinking that which one is St. Anger's Day, Destiny 2 or No Man's Sky?
So, also, do we want to continue on to the other categories, because both of them have Detroit in them.
Oh god. Okay.
Yeah.
For best game direction and narrative.
Yes. Okay. So for best game direction, we have for outstanding creative vision and innovation in games direction and design. So A Way Out. I don't think it should win against some of the other games that it's against. However, I do think A Way Out is a good. I do think its place on the nomination table is well deserved.
I really like this game actually. I haven't completed it yet because it is strictly co-op, and finding time to do it with a mate that's also fucking work coming out of his ears is a nightmare. But from what I've played from it so far, it is addicting. Like, it is actually really fun. And I do think this should win something. Maybe not get best game direction, but it deserves to be recognised.
I haven't seen too much on it, so I can't really speak about it, but I think in comparison to a few other games, I think from what I've heard, it does kind of belong there. It seems like a pretty half-decent game in comparison to Detroit, which...
Yeah, moving on to that.
Well, I just literally just before we move on to that, I will say that I want to see more of the main director of A Way Out, who is just essentially this fucking crazy guy who got fucked off because none of the things he made beforehand were even acknowledged by the Oscars. And my argument to him would be, what do you expect? It's the fucking Oscars.
Yeah.
But no, I am glad that A Way Out is on this list. And now,
the moment you've all been waiting for.
Detroit Become Human.
So,
I would like to point out that the description for this category is awarded to a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovative in-game direction and design. Firstly, outstanding creative vision. I don't think making a game about racism and then coming out and saying that the game isn't about racism is outstandingly creative. And in terms of innovative direction, no.
Connor.
Half the shots in that game are straight up stolen from other movies. And in terms of innovative design, no, it's just another Quantic Dream / Telltale QT filled
it's no different
bollock through. I hate this game. I think there are games way more deserving to be on this list than Detroit.
So I've always had I will
get to the nitty gritty of one of the other categories it's in when we get to that category. But yeah, no, I do not think this place is
I've
deserved
always
in
had
the
a
slightest.
problem with Quantic Dream games, purely because they feel like movies with button inputs. If
Yes.
I want to play a game, I want to be interactive. On the off chance I do want basically an interactive movie, then those kind of games are okay, but for the most part I don't want to be spending £60 on it, or however much it costs. Like a full price game doesn't seem like that to me. And then that's just like Quantic Dream games. Like, there are some bad ones, but for the most part I actually enjoyed Heavy Rain. Like, yeah, it had some bad points. It's not the greatest, but it was enjoyable. There are so many things wrong with Detroit, though. Like, I mean, we've already ranted about this for hours on stream. It's on it's on YouTube if you wanna watch it. Like, I go in on this game because I fucking hate it.
We all
Same.
do. With
Yeah.
like every fiber of our being, we hate Detroit.
The thing is, though, this is the thing. I kind of understand why it's up there, though, because I wouldn't say we're in the minority, but this game is very polarizing. There are some people that hate it, like us. There are some people that swear by this game. I know John Sandman played this on stream, and he fucking loved it. Like, he adored the game and said it was one of the greatest narrative games he's ever played. I disagree with him entirely, but that's his opinion, and he's not alone. So I kind of see why this is up there, because some people do really like it, but from a personal point of view, I think this should die in hell. But
I think in terms of writing, it had substance there, but in then execution, it just kind of got destroyed. Like,
That's the thing with every single Quantic Dream game, is they have good ideas, and then in execution, it is handled worse than like shitting in a turkey sandwich. It's fucking so frustrating, because I never want Quantic Dream / David Cage, whoever you want to like label the games under, really, it doesn't really matter. I never want them to be shit. I have always wanted them to be good, because I don't like complaining about this stuff. I don't like bringing up the fact that they unironically shoved in a line that says he turned us into monsters for his own amusement, but who's the real monster? I hate having the need to bring that crap up, because these are games that are given a lot more.
It doesn't understand the word subtle.
David Cage does not know the meaning of the word subtlety.
He really doesn't.
He just doesn't. I don't like complaining about this shit. If a game of theirs is going to come out, I want it to be good. So far, in my mind, the only game of theirs that is worth buying and playing through several times and like doing different paths and all that stuff is Indigo Prophecy. But mostly because the beginning of that game is so good and strong, and then the rest of it is such a good kind of so bad it's good game that it's well worth experiencing. Heavy Rain, I think, would almost count as that, but personally I think that the story and dialogue and everything is just so melodramatic and overly like trying to make you constantly feel depressed that it does get to a point where it is painful to go through multiple times, one run after another. And the less said about Beyond Two Souls, the better. Beyond Two Souls is the equivalent of a mentally deficient child shitting in its palms and writing nursery rhymes on the wall.
Yeah,
so
I haven't even looked
I just
at
got
that
the
game
perfect
because-
meme for David Cage, and that's that bitch that says, "I don't understand depression." I think it should be, "I don't understand oppression" for David Cage.
David Cage doesn't understand your oppression.
It's like, oh yeah, this isn't about racism, but then you literally have like exiled androids, like they're fleeing, but it's like, no, not even exile, it's reverse exile, where they can't fucking leave because they're all gonna get repoed. Like, there's no point.
I also love the at the end of the game, which you actually missed on. I'm not sure if you played through that level because you got a different ending for Kara, but yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I will like in the editing bleep out that for anyone in case they don't want to get spoiled. But I should point out something that is shown from the advertising from the very, very beginning of the game. When the director comes out and says it's not about racism, and then in universe, the uniform for the androids have triangles, bands, and numbers on them, as if they are the Jews in Nazi-occupied Germany. Is the fucking worst. That's not a thing of like offense. That is not to do with offense. It is when the director says this has nothing to do with racism, and you are using like devices that are clearly about this is fucking racism.
Like the android compartment in the bus.
Yeah, why would you have them standing in the back of the fucking bus? Why would you not have fucking, like, if you're gonna dehumanize them to that extent, have fucking put themselves in fucking drawers that self-shut to it so that you can at least, like, efficiently accommodate space if you're gonna do shit like that. Don't have them fucking stand in the back of the bus with a glass screen that literally just says Android compartment on the back. Fuck off. No.
It makes no sense. Let's move on before we have a stroke.
Alright, God of War. Have not played it, looks really good.
It's on my to play list. It looks fantastic. From what I've seen, it's amazing. So yeah.
Stuff we've already talked about.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man's great. Fucking my vote for this in the heartbeat. I loved it. There's a reason I fucking platinumed and 100%ed it. So yeah, Spider-Man. Especially, I think Yuri Lowenthal is up for the best performance in voice acting, and he also deserves that. He is Peter Parker. Fuck Tobey Maguire. Fuck Holland, the new kid. I can't remember his name right now.
Maguire.
I mean, Anna would, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he is Spider-Man. This is the best Spider-Man that's in any medium ever.
Yeah.
This game deserves it.
No, I have to agree with that. Right, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
I have not played it. Heard it's good.
I can't really speak to this because I want to play it, but I'm going to wait until it comes out on PC.
Yeah. Same. My roommates swear by this, to be fair. But,
yeah, I've heard some really good things. And even Dunkey, who's notorious for finding the bad points in games, he gives it above average score.
Yeah.
He says it's worth your money and your time, so, and I trust Dunkey, so.
As someone who has got a friend that plays a lot of For Honor and who's a god tier shaman main, seeing him completely drop the game to go play Red Dead for 3 days.
He fucking completed it in like a weekend.
Radio silent. He did not look at Discord. He didn't give a shit about us. He just gave a shit about playing Red Dead. And I could say without a doubt that that's probably really good if he dedicated that much time.
It must be some game.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to playing it, actually.
Yeah, I am looking forward to play it. I know for a fact that there are going to be things that I will not like, but I hope for overall that I will like the game.
I wonder what Sej and Dan think of it, because Red Dead 1 was their favourite game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I should ask Sej if he's touched that at all. It's likely that he hasn't, not from money's sake, but from like a time that he doesn't have perspective. But maybe Dan has. I should ask them about that.
Yeah. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Oh boy.
Nominee number 1 is Detroit Become Human. Okay, so if you want to take the description of this category very, very literally, for outstanding storytelling and narrative, Detroit does stand out because it's a crock of shit and doesn't deserve to be on this fucking list. It is the most poorly cobbled together. It's okay. To be fair,
it's outstanding. It's not as bad, but
it is not as
not for the right reason.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Beyond Two Souls, because Beyond Two Souls is literally written by someone who forgot to take their Adderall and is already beforehand like drawing on the wall with crayons. Who then saw Memento and went, yeah, I want to do that, but with fucking psychic ghost powers. Detroit Become Human, saying that it has opinions be damned, it's shit. Its narrative is shit. Its storytelling is shit. I don't give a fuck. It's not good in any sense. There's no logic. The entire story is being held together with just like sellotape that isn't sellotape but melodrama.
Not even that, spits and prayers.
It's bollocks. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The entire point of the game is its narrative. Its narrative is a crock of shit.
This is why I have such a problem with this game, because the entire point of this game is to be a storytelling movie, essentially. An interactive movie,
Yeah.
and the story is a pile of bollocks.
David Cage would not make it in Hollywood because he is too much of a hack. The reason he is making it in games is because like it's easier for people to. Okay, this is how I would describe Quantic Dream games. People don't get sucked in and immersed into their games. They develop Stockholm syndrome with Quantic Dream games.
They do.
That is my opinion of it, because they are so long, so drawn out, and such shit that you feel like you have to sync with the ship to get through it.
People like drama. That's, I think, the long and short of it is people, like, for all the melodrama in the game, some people like that shit.
There's liking drama, and then there's being oblivious to melodrama, I
Yeah,
think, in my mind, though.
There's racism, and then there's casual racism.
There's ignorance, and oh my fuck, you didn't consider this for like a second, did you?
And then that's not even delving into the fact that it's scientifically impossible on so many levels.
I know you have like big problems with that because you're actively like in working with algorithms and AI and that.
My multidisciplinary project this year is designing an AI traffic control system for a city in Saudi Arabia. That is where I'm at the moment. So having a game take the concept of AI and shit all over it, it irks me so much.
Yeah, I can understand the perspective of like it actively shitting on an entire like study of work that is, you know, already has enough like, well, already has a huge representation in terms of the amount of people working on all sorts of things and people who are informed enough to know what is possible, what we have done, and what people are making.
The sheer amount of misinformation in media as well, the misrepresentation. I don't think I've seen a single piece of media where AI is actually portrayed correctly, apart from maybe iRobot, and even then there's dodgy parts.
Movie or book?
Good point. I can't actually remember. I think the movie. I don't think I've read the book actually, although I think it's somewhere on my shelf.
No,
I think
something we do have to like look at is that it's a sci-fi game. It's not real. It's probably not going to be real. It's like looking at Star Wars and saying this is real life.
No. Star Wars is completely a different conversation because it's set in fucking galaxy millions of light years away a long time ago. That's completely different situation. Still obeys the laws of physics, but apart from that, this is set 20 years from now in a concept in AI that already exists today. Like, they've taken this concept and saying, okay, we're going to fast forward this 20 years, here, this is where it's going to be. And it's just completely wrong. It's just unequivocally wrong. Like, it's a completely different spectrum. Like, even something 200 years from now, as like a piece of media, you could like give it some leeway, saying, okay, how far is technology going in 200 years? Like, it might be this advanced.
And this one's surreal.
The fact that AI it's such a cutting edge field right now. It is very popular. That's why I'm going into it. I love it. And 20 years in the long run isn't actually a long time. Like, I'm going to be 45 roughly when supposedly this game is set. I don't think we wouldn't get anywhere near this kind of technology anyway, and B, the kind of technology that you are putting in this game and advertising as a real situation is complete bollocks. Because that's the other thing. The game, from the storytelling point of view, it tries to get you invested in the story by saying, this could happen, this could be real. Like, in 20 years' time, this actually might be an issue. That's what drew some people into the game, because of some issues going on right now in the world, for instance. But from my point of view, I'm literally every second I sat through that game, I'm saying, this is impossible, this can't happen, no, this can't happen. So I couldn't get invested in the story, because I was just saying, no, like, this would not happen. And it just, oh no.
Yeah, I would agree in that whole thing of it trying to present as if this is what's going to happen from the perspective of outside of when the story's happening. The game will present you a survey with all sorts of a myriad of questions involving basically if androids and AI were to develop sentience.
So being self-aware.
Yeah, we won't run through those questions, but yeah, all of it is bollocks.
Yeah, an android just suddenly develops sentience. Yeah, that's totally how it works. Yeah, fine.
Unless if we somehow get a fucking breakthrough, and I mean, like, this is going from, like, fucking plastics to future tech in Civ. Like that's what we're looking at now. Like
Yeah.
there's
It's
not
just
it's
flat
not
out.
happening.
It's flat out impossible. Unless quantum computers get invented within the next year. And I'm talking about stable quantum computers that you can fit in a laptop. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking exaflops of speed and ridiculous amounts of data capacity. And then you're still getting into the problem of training these things. Oh my god, training AIs is such a fucking nightmare. Are you seriously telling me that even if you started now, I don't think you could train an AI in 20 years to be almost like a human, and never mind roll it out across the world and pass all the safety checks? No way.
There's one thing from the game that I am in two minds of. There's sections where the characters you play as, you'll basically get opportunities to, as your characters, tear down your own firewall.
Yep.
I know it's extremely problematic for you,
Yeah.
Trip, but I'm in
So-
two minds of it. Of like, I'm against it from your perspective of that literally makes no sense. That would not, should not, and could not happen. But
It's a cool
in
way
a
of visualizing
mind of-
it.
Yeah, I was
But,
gonna say.
that's the way I look at that and go, oh my god, it's it's fucking, it's an Evangelion tearing down the AT field moment. Like
Yeah.
it's it's a good it's a good visual representation, but beyond that, it's problematic.
I was also in two minds because I do like the visualization of it, but
Mm-hmm.
from a programming perspective, the AI is not even aware that wall exists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how could it
this
tear it down?
is-
It doesn't
I
make any
am-
sense from a programming point of view.
In my tiny ass little creative writing fucking thing that I like to think about. It looks nice, sure. It's a thing. Yeah, you can rip it down. But giving the AI sentience to fucking rip its own firewall apart doesn't seem right. You've basically made a robot to self-destruct. Like,
Oh
no.
yeah, it's that, and there's also the thing of like the game itself confusing the difference between sentience and sapience. Sentience is acknowledging that you exist within the world. Sapience is thinking about why and how you exist. And I don't mean just like coming from getting from A to B in how you were created. I mean thinking about that on a philosophical and emotional level. And that's what the androids do in Detroit, but the game sort of mislabels it as sentience when it means sapience. And it's a whole other like myriad of problems. This whole like game being on this nomination site in of itself is a massive can of worms. So
It shouldn't
we'll
be here
move
at
on
all.
from that. We'll move on
But
from
yeah.
that a bit.
Anyway,
God of War.
from what I've heard, the story is great, so
Yeah, again, wouldn't need to play it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it deserves its spot.
Life is Strange now.
Oh boy.
I've not played 2. I did not like 1.
The only thing I've seen about this is Sugarwolf play it, so I don't know much about it.
I haven't watched that episode yet. I want to.
Like from what I can tell, it seems okay.
Mhm.
But I have only seen a small part of it, so I can't really judge it.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that it's only also episode 1,
Yeah.
which... Okay, I'm just gonna say something right now about it. I don't think if you're gonna look at the first episode, I don't think you should say it's the best thing of like all time.
That's
I think
true.
if you're gonna call something really good to this extreme, I think you should at least wait for the full series to come out.
I would completely agree.
Unless
yes.
it's absolutely phenomenal. Like
And considering how the first one went, I don't think it's undeserving of this title so early on.
Yeah, I it's like if you were nominating, if you were like doing like as Trip said, like the BAFTAs or like something like say if you were doing like a soap opera award thing, and you were like, and here's the nominees for best series, and it's like you name out a myriad of series of essentially complete stories with their own, ups, downs, merits, trials and tribulations and shit, and then one episode from one series is up on that list.
yeah, something that's like a pilot and maybe a few episodes of the first season. That's it.
It's like if the pilot for X-Files is nominated alongside the entirety of Twin Peaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they're two very different things. Like Don't Nod Entertainment have said themselves, this is not like the full version of the game, so why is it up on the nominations to begin with? I have no problem with Life is Strange 2 being up on the nominations. I've not played it myself, so I don't really have any context as to why it's up there beyond it's the new episode of a sequel to a relatively well-received game.
Mhm.
Like, that's it. It shouldn't be up there because, like, 1/5 of the game is out.
Also, kind of a little off topic. Well, not off topic, but when is the Game Awards actually?
Let me right-click on watch. It happens on the 6th of December, a Thursday.
Okay.
Like
our
basically
time.
20
Yeah,
days.
it'll be Friday for us.
We've kind of discussed our feelings about the rest of the games on this list. We
Yep.
already know what we're
This-
going to say.
Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption
Yeah,
2.
Spider-Man and Red Dead. So, I mean, the stories here are both great, from what I can tell. So, best art
Right.
direction.
For outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Now, I've not seen enough of Assassin's Creed Odyssey to comment at all. I don't know. Maybe it does have some nice art and animations and all that.
The
I
environments-
just don't know.
So, from what I've seen, the environments look great, and for the most part, the animation's good. But it's a Ubisoft game. There are going to be animation glitches. It's just a part of the game, so it's not perfect. But the environments look pretty good. So, I think it deserves a spot. I don't think it deserves to win.
Any comments about that from you, Volk?
I haven't paid much attention to it at all, but from what I have seen, it looks all right. I wouldn't call it, anything like groundbreaking. I think it would be like if I were to compare it to something like Horizon Zero Dawn to like maybe Titanfall. I would place it more towards like Titanfall because that's how I feel and that it looks like. It's kind of along the lines of it's polished, yeah, but is it outstanding? No.
And God of War, I mean, it's probably going to win. To be honest, I think. it should
I'd
win.
feel like God of War should have been. Hang on, was it? Am I forgetting the? No, yeah, God of War is on there for best direction. I was going to say.
Yeah.
In terms of art, I again not too sure because I've not seen all of it.
I mean, I think it looks fantastic.
We're not even a fucking quarter of the way through.
Yeah,
We're gonna be here all night.
We're not going to get through all of this. Maybe we'll get to like 40% or something, and then
Well,
I think this is enough.
yeah.
Been here for like an hour talking about Game Awards that
I know,
we've
we should probably
repeatedly
move on to other
roasted.
things, but let's just finish
we'll
art
skim to
direction.
because we're kind of like stripped for time. Is there anything like just quickly scroll down the
Okay.
game anomalies sort of like stuff? Is there anything you guys want to bring up more about it? Like, because Dead Cells is on there for best independent game. I seriously want that to
yeah,
win.
I want that to win.
Oh,
Agreed.
same.
It was Celeste, Dead Cells, and Into the Breach. Yeah, I think it's a toss-up between Celeste and Dead Cells, but I do think Dead Cells should win.
Personally, for me, I haven't played most of the game of this. Personally, for me, I want either Dead Cells or Into the Breach to win.
Oh god, best mobile game. PUBG Mobile.
I have no idea.
Fortnite.
Yeah, PUBG Mobile and Fortnite are on there. I'm like,
Okay,
ugh.
I want to talk about one thing before we do decide to leave, and that is the best VR games, because VR as itself, surprisingly, is not doing so hot right now.
Well, it doesn't help that Sony has basically dropped most like support and push for their own VR system. It doesn't help.
I think Beat Saber is a good nomination, actually.
I think
Yeah, I
Beat
think that's a
Saber
good
might be the
shout.
best game on this list. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just love how also, do you want to just quickly go over the Golden Joystick Awards quickly?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't
It'll only
seen
take a few minutes, but I love how the best VR game on that one isn't even one of the nominations on the Game Awards. It's fucking Skyrim VR.
Oh god.
Best
Oh,
VR
God.
game, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR. What the
Jesus.
fuck?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Uh.
best competitive game, Fortnite. Ultimate Game of the Year, Fortnite.
Yeah.
Oh dear. PlayStation Game of the Year is God of War. Esports Game of the Year, Overwatch. Still Playing Awards. That's kind of like the ongoing game award. World of Tanks.
Is TF2 on that list?
Not as a winner, no. I don't know.
Fuck.
But best ongoing game, fucking World of Tanks.
No.
At least best indie game was Dead Cells. But yeah.
Oh, good.
the Golden Joystick Awards kind of. What the fuck? Anyway.
I very briefly, I'm just like very quickly scrolling to see if there's anything else I want to bring up in the Game Awards nomination stuff. I for best esports player, Sonic Fox. Sonic Fox has fucking killed it this year. He's grown from being a relatively recognized person within esports to fucking exploded as the best fighting game player on the face of the earth right now. And also his moment of his side switch moment against Go One in the DBFZ finals is fucking amazing, and it just like that is, if you want like a moment of a curb stomp symphony, you go and watch that moment. Sonic Fox has just been absolutely destroying it, and also with that in mind, best fighting game, Dragon Ball FighterZ just deserves it hand down. I don't think Soul Calibur 5's like, the problems with Soul Calibur 5 is like just kind of overshadows the minuscule problems FighterZ had on launch, and in my personal opinion, Street Fighter 5 doesn't deserve to be up on that list. I would have liked to play all these best student games. It's just that, you know, it's a student game, so you're not going to see any or little advertising about it, so you don't really get the opportunity to play it before the nomination, you know, before they've been nominated, which is a shame. And best esports team, I have no, you know, reference for it all. Same goes for commentators.
Isn't Victus up there, actually?
Let's see. OG, London Spitfire, Fnatic, Cloud9, and Astralis.
Wow, okay, no Invictus. Okay.
And
right.
I guess best esport event, very inherent bias is Evo for me.
Yeah.
I always watch Evo. It's just very entertaining. And yeah, I think that's Game Awards done.
Surprised Invictus isn't up there though, because they were fucking underdogs for the league's world championship. They weren't even meant to be there, and then they won the fucking thing. So anyway,
there's a little article that I put in the topics for cast. If you scroll up to see the picture of Russell Crowe in Gladiator, if you would.
Oh, is this the Gladiator sequel?
This is one of the most stupidly interesting articles I've seen in a while. So,
I don't think I've read this. So
Ridley Scott teased on it's a person who Nick Cave. Nick Cave, he's the guy from Lawless, essentially. Mm-hmm. There's a hyperlink to his name, so if you're not sure who he is, and he basically wanted a sequel to Gladiator called Christ Killer.
What? Excuse
Christ
Hold
Killer,
on.
which, to quote the article, which would have found Maximus in purgatory as he's sent down by the gods who are dying in heaven, because there's this one god, there's this Christ character down on Earth who is gaining popularity, and the many gods are dying because of that. Because there's this new guy who's the new hotness, and he's getting all the bitches. He's getting all the popularity. He's getting everyone's attention.
They sent Gladiator back to kill Christ and his followers.
Yeah. Part of me needs this movie to exist. Like,
oh my god!
I love this right at the end of this little paragraph. It's like, when Russell Crowe read the script, he reportedly said, "Don't like it, mate.
Don't like it, mate."
I want this movie to happen so bad. And it's the thing of like, the script would have found Maximus tricked by the gods as the Christ character that they sent him to kill was his own son. You know, the one that died in the first movie.
Oh my god.
However, we haven't even gotten to the craziest part, as the end of the film would have found Maximus living forever, fighting battles throughout history, such as World War II and Vietnam, before ending up as a general in modern-day Pentagon.
What? Where is this going?
Who snorted a line of coke before writing a script about Gladiator?
How many of the drugs
Ridley
were you
Scott,
on?
Apparently.
How many?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Have you seen, like... It doesn't surprise me because, like, Ridley Scott was behind the very recent, very, very shit Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
And it's his own fault that the movie was shit. because the main reason the movie was shit was like people went, man, this writing's fucking terrible, and it really, really shows. Like, you don't have to look hard to see how terrible this writing is. But then, like, not long after, Ridley Scott, like, after being kind of more or less radio silent, basically went, I'm not too hot on these xenomorphs anymore. They don't really have a lot of room for story potential. It's like the person who there was a guy who was there's no new information about it yet still, but there was a director, the director who did District 9 and Elysium, very, very talented director. He was going to make an No.
Did Peter Jackson do District 9?
No, I don't think so. I think it would know if it was Peter
District
Jackson.
9 on it.
Oh, it was Neil Blomkamp.
That's it, yes. The guy who did those films was going to make an Aliens movie that was set immediately after Alien 3 and ignored every other movie in the entire series, in the entire franchise. And that would have been genuinely interesting.
Yeah.
And something I would like extremely look forward to. But they pushed it back for Ridley's own sakes, and it's because of the failure of Alien Covenant where it's likely that movie will get cancelled because the studio's like, no, the last one wasn't profitable, so this one isn't going to be. So
yeah,
it's Ridley Scott has fucked over one of their own. Yeah, Ridley Scott has fucked over another one of his own babies, essentially, to just never work again, which fucking sucks.
Who wrote the script for Alien 4 as well, the Resurrection one?
Likely a bunch of Hollywood suits. I want this Christ killer movie to be up there with Silent Hills for what we didn't get, but what we deserve, what we need in our lives. Fucking Russell Crowe coming out as Christ killer.
I still can't believe that. Oh,
I just like the idea of a modern day film about a gladiator coming back from hell and killing Christ. Like, that's just... Back then, that was surreal, but that was kind of also tame. Now we have
it was kind of like expected for like...
This is hyperbolic.
Yeah. If this film was ever going to happen, it would have been early 2000s.
Yeah. Now this is completely out of the loop in comparison to common movies.
There's no way.
Killing Christ.
Okay, obviously self-admittedly, and like most people know this already, I love dumb edgy shit. Mm-hmm. This would have been my fucking Bible for dumb edgy shit. And I am apprehensive that it's not going to happen.
Killing the fucking savior of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Killing Christ himself.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
Or at least attempting to, and then
can you imagine the
not getting
track?
To, or whatever.
Yeah, the metal track in the background of just Russell Crowe dunking on those disciples.
I honestly would love to see BFG Division play in the background.
No.
Christ being killed.
I want a slow motion shot of Russell Crowe walking away from Christ's body with a Roman sword impaled through Christ, whilst Limp Bizkit's "I Did It All for the Nookie" plays.
Oh, that one.
Stick it up your stick it up your as Christ's body just fucking falls on the sword.
I would love like a shaman moment where they're on the ground and he's just fucking ripping his chest apart.
Yeah.
Like, make it brutal. If you're gonna do something as entertaining and something so surreal as Christ Killer, you might as well make it brutal.
If you're gonna kill Christ, you might as well go all out.
It's just fucking Russell Crowe doing that, just like tearing out the organs of Christ. It's like, I'm giving a whole new meaning to the body and blood of Christ.
Yeah.
To the Holy Land.
He just starts chewing, just not eating, but like softly gnawing on his heart. The sustenance.
God. The sustenance, no.
Speaking of an exuberant force devouring another, Microsoft has bought Obsidian and In Exile, very big RPG developers.
Why am I not surprised?
I am fine with this so long as Obsidian games don't become Xbox exclusive titles. That's all I care about, because I'm yet to play Pillars of Eternity games, and from what I've heard, they are brilliant. And I'm also yet to play Fallout New Vegas, which apparently is also brilliant.
Yeah,
but I have played.
Oh,
That's
speaking of Fallout,
Oh
by
god,
the
do
way.
we move on to the dreaded subject of Fallout?
I
No,
think we
the
have
dreaded
to.
subject was Detroit, honestly.
Well, no, that was the it was the dreaded subject, but it was one that we actually didn't have much thought of going into this podcast.
I think I have more to say about Fallout 76 because I have a page of notes right here. I'm not even
Oh,
joking.
God.
This is the only subject I prepared for because I have a lot to say about this.
Trip has done his homework. He's done his research.
If I came prepared for Destiny 2, we would be here for another hour.
True.
I
Yeah.
wish I was joking.
Yeah.
I honestly, most of the arguments I have made so far have been me just spitballing.
Yeah.
Because most of it is true, but I'm also a dumbass, so take what I say with a grain of salt.
Well, speaking of spitballing, that feels like what Bethesda has done to Fallout 76. It just spat it out there and was
Oh,
just
that's
like,
a segue.
this
could
will get us
say-
money.
yeah,
Why not?
no.
Fuck it.
So,
Alright, try to have about it.
yeah, I spent a few hours earlier today looking at reviews of Fallout, and I honestly tried my best to find the most positive, optimistic reviews I could find.
Mhm.
And I think it says a lot about the game in general that the most positive review I found gave it a 6 out of 10.
Jesus.
Wow.
That was the best I could find. That's not even a joke. And it just gets worse. So, for a start, let's talk about things that shouldn't be an issue in the game, and that's the technical
Okay,
side of it.
I just want to pause you just for a very,
Yeah.
very quick second. I was opening a new tab and putting in Metacritic, and Metacritic Fallout 76 is the first autocomplete.
Of course it
Jesus.
is. Of course
Okay.
it is.
I'm going to look at the PS4, PC, and Xbox just
What is
initial
the,
scores.
What is the Metacritic score? So that'll be interesting.
User score for PlayStation 4 is 2.9. Metascore is not yet set because there's only been based on one critic so far.
So that's around 60%, isn't it? So yeah, around the same.
And the one critic review is the 6-axis with a 30 out of 100. It's a 3 out of 10. For the PC version, user score is a 3.1. Xbox One version has a user score of 2.5, with Xbox achievements, being probably the most generous I've seen by giving it a 65.
I'm sorry. Volk, what is
that advertisement needs to be a topic.
Oh, we will get to that. We will get to that
I'm sorry.
when we have a good enough segue for it, because that's how this is
Well,
going to work.
Salty like
Anyway.
my nut.
Anyway.
Green and
So,
salty,
yeah.
just like Microsoft, who paid for the majority of Fallout 76's advertising.
Oof.
How's that working out for you?
Well, clearly not very well.
So yeah, Fallout 76, what a shithole. So let's start with the technical stuff, because, like, first of all, releasing a functioning game is always a positive, you know? And I don't know about you, but finding bugs in my game always breaks my immersion. It's
Yep.
kind of like the minimum bar to expect a working game when you put this much money into a AAA title. So, and I know Bethesda, especially Bethesda, are known, like, they're notorious for having buggy games. But even by Bethesda standards, Fallout 76 takes the cake. And that's just astonishing to me. The amount of AI bugs, texture bugs, loot bugs there were at launch. The amount of just...
Stability bugs I find
Random
to
crashes,
be
yeah.
the most baffling. Yeah.
And we won't even talk about the bug where the client deleted your entire 50 gig fucking game.
Excuse
Yep.
me? Hold on, what?
Did you not hear about this?
No,
So
that's
there's-
news to me.
So
There's
about
two
a
different
day-
versions of that. There's the one that Trip is about to explain, but there's also the one where it was especially prolific during the beta, but it still had on some versions of like the proper launch, where it was a bug where on the PS4 you were literally just unable to uninstall the game.
What the fuck?
Okay.
There was a bug where you could not like when you went to like hit the options button on the game, like when you're in the PS4 menu and you hit delete, it tries to delete it for 10 minutes and then notification pops up, says error occurred, and then the game is just still on there and
Wow.
quote unquote working. You know.
Okay.
What?
I haven't heard that one. The one
Okay.
the one that was around on Twitter a lot and YouTube was when people started up the client for the game sometimes and clicked play, it would delete your entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to re-download the 50 gig beta, and yeah, that's kind of a bit of a big issue where your game deletes itself from your hard drive. Like, how
Thinking about
stupid
that
is
right now.
How stupid is that? Anyway, that's just a start. So, yeah, this is another big one. This one really bugs me because this one has been in the game since before Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
So this is at least a 3-year-old bug, where fucking frames of your monitor is tied to the physics engine. So
What the fuck?
if you uncapped your frames, you could speed up the game. Now in Fallout 4, this wasn't really an issue because it was a single player game. So there was a glitch where some monitors would cap your the game had a bug where
I see where this is going.
Yeah, it caps your monitor at 30 FPS. So what they did is they made the fix was to make an edit in the ini file to uncap the frame rate. But it then went up to like 140 or 200 and stuff, and your animations would be a lot quicker, and the entire game itself would be faster. So what they did instead is there was some third-party software that made the game run at 60 FPS. It was a nightmare. Bethesda knew about it. It's been around for years. They still haven't fixed it. It's stupid. The bit where this gets worse is that this glitch in the physics engine that's tied to the frame rate is still there in a multiplayer game. So the game basically comes with inbuilt speed hacks, because all you have to do is change one little number in an ini file, and all of a sudden your frame rate is uncapped, and you're faster than Sonic the demonic hedgehog, like running around the wasteland with faster,
I remember the same thing
firing
happening to the
animations.
PC version of Need for Speed Rivals, where I saw the Total Biscuit's video on it, where you the game from just regular installation is hard capped to 30, and then if you went into the ini files and just changed it to 60, your car would just
Double
be
speed.
so triple actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an unreal
I
amount.
think somebody did the math and it was 3.52 times the speed of normal gameplay, and yeah, this is a similar issue.
It shocks me that this is still an issue, though, because this has been around for years, and they didn't even hide it in the ini file or anything. So all you have to do is click one number, and all of a sudden you can run around the wasteland, faster firing animations, faster melees, faster everything. Like you literally just have speed hacks inbuilt in the game, and you don't need to download any software. You don't need to do anything. So there's no anti-cheat enabled for this at all, because it's part of the game files. So it just baffles me, and again, that's not even the start of it. And then we get onto the actual game design. And there's the random server crashes as well. Like the servers just go down multiple times per day, but for no apparent reason, and throws everyone out of game. So then we get into the actual game itself.
Before we do that, I would like to point fingers at the frame glitch. Nuclear Throne is also the same way, but here's the thing. You decide to do that because it's a fucking single-player game, and unless if you're playing together, there's no downside to it. But it is literally changing one number from 0 to 1. It is that easy, and the file is small. Nuclear Throne's ini file is, tiny. You go change one value, your entire game's different. And that's the same case with Fallout. It's a multiplayer game where you can have faster interaction just by changing something where everyone's capped off. It's not settings are different, default settings compared to, I changed my settings. This is literally going into the files saying, I want this number to be true instead of false.
I have a feeling that if we were bringing this up to somebody who worked on the game or worked at Bethesda or something, the argument would be, well, why would you change something in the ini files that would A, violate the warranty, or B, be playing in the game in an unintended experience?
Well, you don't.
And I think both of those are bollocks on my point of view. But I imagine if we those would be the answers we would get if we were talking to this
those
from
answers
someone from Bethesda.
Those answers don't even work though, because
Exactly.
even if you weren't able to change
much like the game,
even if
it doesn't work.
If you were unable to change this, it still affects the game. Like your frames affect the game. So people with a faster refresh rate monitor are going to have an advantage or faster animations over people with shitty laptops. Like it changes the very fundament of the game just by the way your frames work, like on the actual output, and that's just stupid. I'd never understood that design from a design standpoint in any game, but especially in multiplayer. In a single player game, it matters a lot less, but especially in a multiplayer game, like it's just stupid.
I'd also like to say, this literally within you talking about this, I've opened up my INI file in Nuclear Throne and I've changed the value that I need to change into the 60 frames a second, where everything is basically triple speed. It's that easy.
Yep. It's pretty much the same for Fallout.
It's
And then,
so
then we get onto the actual
dumb.
game. So I want to talk about the microtransactions first, and the
Oh,
atomic
this.
store. So they said that there will be microtransactions, but you can earn the currency for free by playing the game, and that allows you to unlock skins and like the tattoos, emotes, stuff like that. Turns out you earn them a lot slower than they would said. So
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
yeah, you earn about roughly. So again, this is from other people's reviews of it. Most people have been saying this is generous, by the way. Most people are saying you earn about 70 atoms an hour, and a lot of people say that these stats have been taken from like the first few hours of the game as well. So you might even be given more as an incentive to keep going for like the first few hours of the game. So 70 atoms an hour is generous. I would say a generous estimate. And then your average emote cost is about 250. Your average skin cost is 350. So what, you're gonna have to play for a minimum of 4 hours just to get an emote? Are you joking? Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then you can buy. By the way, each atom is roughly equal to a cent, because you can buy them almost one for one, 500 atoms for $5. I mean, obviously you get discounts for higher amounts, but roughly each atom is a cent. So you have to pay 400 atoms for a nice blue skin on your Pip-Boy. That's the equivalent of $4. $4 for a blue skin on your Pip-Boy. That's absurd.
It's like Creative Club, but it actually affects your game. That matters in progression value.
I fucking hate it. Everything about it. And then so that's the microtransactions. Again, going into the mods, actually, now you mentioned Creation Club, in addition to their outdated engine and the fact that they don't have an FOV slider or any quality.
Whoa! They don't have a fucking FOV slider in a fucking first-person shooter and with a third-person camera mode that is also going to be heavily used on PC. They don't have a fucking FOV slider. You're taking the piss.
No, it's because of their outdated engine.
Do they have a third-party?
They do not have an FOV slider.
Well, sorry, correct me if I'm mistaken. Doesn't fucking Skyrim Special Edition on the PS4 have a fucking FOV slider?
Hell, I think
remember
the
having a
default
fucking
PC
FOV slider.
one has an FOV slider.
I haven't played Skyrim Special Edition on the PS4.
I think I remember it having a FOV slider. I need to look into this.
Whenever I play Skyrim on the PC, I have to manually change my FOV in the console. So, yeah, I think it's partly because of just Bethesda's outdated engine. And then there's the fact, mods can fix it, right? Mods can, barring Creation Club mods, like free mods can fix this. There will be no mod support for Fallout 76 for at least 1 year. So,
well then,
no one's going to be playing this in a year. No one's going to be playing this in a year.
Give it 6 months, unless they get their head out of their ass.
I don't even give it that, to be honest. I give it like 2 months. But yeah, they do not plan on integrating mods into this game until at least November next year.
Okay,
so I found an article from what date is this? April 2016. By this point, Special Edition of Skyrim was out on PS4, and it says I'm mistaken entirely. You can't change the FOV in the PS4, and the way to change it on
pretty
PC
sure it's
without
never been an option
without using a mod is to go into the INI file.
Yeah. I
Damn.
just do it.
Even
I just
then,
do it in
that's
the
not
console.
an issue.
That's fucked. That is so stupidly fucked.
So then we get onto the actual game design. Like, microtransactions and shitty tech aside, like surely it's a good game, right? So I don't know about you,
No.
but when I watched E3 with you guys, I don't know if you remember Sea Lion. That was quite a while ago now. But
No, I
I
remember that.
being super excited for the Bethesda conference, and when it was first announced, when Todd said that this was going to be a online game, he stressed the point that this would still be a full Fallout game, like as part of the Fallout series, maybe slightly smaller in terms of like content than the normal game, but it's still going to be a worthy game of the Fallout series, but online.
Yeah.
Now it's come out, and there is no story. Like there is virtually no story to speak of. You get the occasional interesting quests. There are no NPCs.
No, that's specifically it's there are no human NPCs.
There's no
but
human NPCs.
Everyone and everything is just a robot or a computer, and
Yeah,
it's all very
I don't know
samey.
about you, but I play Bethesda games because of the hilarious characters.
Yes.
So to
same.
remove the human NPC element from the game is to me a baffling decision.
Yeah.
And most of the quests, it seems to be like more like an MMO. It really does, because you go somewhere, you escort someone usually, or you clear out something, you get some loot, you come back, you do something else. It doesn't seem to have any kind of overarching story or any kind of development for any of the characters, because there are none. Like there's robots, which don't really have character development. And the only other people in the servers are players. So it makes no sense from a narrative level. And to advertise this as a part of the Fallout genre is effectively lying, because it looks like Fallout, it plays like Fallout, but is it really a Fallout game? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then
I don't disagree. I agree entirely on that. I think this is fucking straying from it. This feels like I don't know if you guys heard about the mod for Skyrim, but there was a mod that incorporated multiplayer.
Yeah,
the Skyrim Online.
Super interested in that.
Yeah. I would assume that's exactly what this is, but, official. The thing is, one person made the online version for Skyrim. That's by scratch. What?
Yeah.
Using Bethesda's broken engine that they refuse to do anything to address the issues. Instead, they just bolt up. It's starting out with a shit foundation and bolting on other stuff to it, under the assumption is I'll be fine. It'll do it. It will do its job. And it's just no. This is the smoking gun of you fuckers need to address this shit. Otherwise,
they just won't.
Otherwise, Elder Scrolls 6 and was it Starlight? Their own their own actual their from the ground up property just will not have the impacts that they want.
To be honest, I'm really apprehensive.
It's just not going to work.
I'm really apprehensive about Elder Scrolls 6 now, because I love the fucking Elder Scrolls is my favorite game series of all time. That's just fact for me. I absolutely adore, despite all of their issues, I adore Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. I haven't played Daggerfall yet, but I really should. And it makes me so apprehensive for Test 6, because I've been waiting for so long, and having seen the fuck up they've made of 76, anyway. Going back to characters...
I would hope that there is no online aspect other than
keep it single player,
mods
please.
and Creation Club for 6, yeah.
But going back to character development, so the only kind of character development there's going to be is your own character. So when you start a new run in any of the other Tess or Fallout games, you get to see all of the perks, right? You get to see all of the different perks for magic or for archery and sneaking and stuff. You get to build your own character. You get to read through all the perks, see what might work well together, see what kind of build you want to do, whether you want to be a long-range mage or a sneaky assassin and stuff. And you get to see that from the get-go. You know what you're going towards, and that's part of the joy of building a character. and developing through it, feeling yourself get more powerful as you get more and more perks. Fallout 76 doesn't have that, because the perks are random, and it makes no fucking sense. So I'll get onto the level system in a minute, but whenever you level up, you get a choice of like 6 to 8 different perk cards that you collect, and you can swap out your cards to like equipment thing and get different benefits. But the choices you get are completely random, and you just have to pick the one you want. And there's no way of seeing all of the perk cards in the game. So you are completely blind at level 1. It's like you have no idea what perks are out there. You have no idea what kind of characters can be built. And you don't actually know what you're going to be building until you level up. And even then, you might just get random perks that don't work with each other. It makes no fucking sense. Like, the only kind of development you've got in the game now, you've taken away. What is the point of getting invested in this character when it's effectively just it's an RNG character? I have no control over how this character develops. It's
basically what you're telling me is that it's like hitting the random button in Divinity 2, and that's how your run's gonna go.
Yeah. Except it takes fucking forever because you're grinding all the way through.
Yeah.
So you're grinding for effectively no choice.
Yeah. It makes no sense. And then the level system is also terrible because the game difficulty, I have heard, is stupendously easy. It has been designed for a single player point of view, even though the game is advertised for its multiplayer. It's been designed that you can go through the entire game solo, which I guess is what Todd was saying. It's like, no, you can play it solo if you want, but the multiplayer action is there. But apart from the fact that if you're playing in a party of more than one, the game is pathetically easy. And I've seen a video of a party of 4, levels 15, 12, 8, and 7, take on a level 50 final boss and kill it easily with no worries whatsoever. It's there's no difficulty whatsoever, and in like the 8 hours one of the reviewers played the game, he died once, and that's only because he wanted to see what happened when he died.
What happened?
Huh? I don't actually know what happens when you die, but the point is he died once, and only because he wanted to. There is no difficulty.
It was intentional.
Challenge. Because it's all online in servers, you can't change the difficulty. So the level system is pointless because it's designed from a point of view where you can go to any point of this huge map and not feel underleveled or overleveled. So basically all the power levels are actually the same. It's just you might get more perks to make life easier, and it might take longer to kill a high level enemy. But the point is there's still no challenge. Like, that you're not going to get one shot by an enemy 10 levels higher than you. It might just take longer to kill it. That's it. So the leveling is pointless, the perks are pointless. You've basically taken the joy out of developing a character completely in this game. And there's no NPCs. What else is there? Oh yeah, so for a game primarily advertised on its multiplayer, they really didn't know how to play a multiplayer game. So, you know, in vendors, in WoW and MMOs like that, multiple people can use vendors at the same time. Can't do that in Fallout 76.
Oh god, no! It's a fucking what was Ubisoft's multiplayer Tom Clancy game? The Division. There was that thing of like only one person could talk to like the person who hands out the main quest at a time.
Yep, that's
you
exactly
just see
the same
fucking
Fallout 76.
You see queues
for
talking to one guy.
All of the quest givers, all of the vendors, only one person can interact with at the time.
And fucking
hell.
Yeah, and if you want to talk to them, you have to wait until they're done. It just says vendor is busy, which is utterly stupid. And then it gets even worse from a design point of view. They really sold the trying to survive, quote unquote survive, in the wasteland by adding a food and water system. So every time you go without food or water for a certain amount of time, you have to eat food and water. Now this wouldn't be so bad if it was easy to find, but you have to fucking boil it because you need to get rid of radiation, or you need to hunt it because, like, you need to find the food somewhere. So one of the things that someone described to me was when you're in a party of 4 and you're ready to go on this quest for loot or something, and someone says, "Oh, hang on, I gotta eat and drink." It's just the most annoying thing in the world because it basically slows down the progress so much and it makes the grind even worse. So going all in on the survival is probably not a good thing.
No.
What else is there? Oh, and then there's the PvP system. Okay, then.
Oh, I know about the PvP system primarily from Inferno Plus's video on it.
Yeah.
It was the thing I mainly took away. So,
Yeah.
and when he said everything that he said about the like PvP stuff, I was just so
Shocked.
baffled at
Yeah.
how fucking
So
thick-headed the devs have been in that aspect.
For those of you who don't know, the PvP system revolves
The
around
PvC.
the PvC.
No,
wow.
the PvP was designed by people who were on PvC.
Oh, PvC, yeah. So yeah, for those who don't know, the system was designed about both players being consensual in the duel, in killing each other. Which I don't know about you, but when Fallout 76 even was first announced, the idea of just shitting on people and taking their loot was hilarious. Just killing random people in the wasteland and taking their stuff. But no, it doesn't work like that. So you have to fire at them to try and initiate a duel, and it basically says to you, "I want to duel you." But all damage dealt by weapons to another player not in a duel is reduced by 50%. So it takes, if you try to kill someone outside of a duel, it fucking takes half an hour, and it's like a mosquito trying to kill you, and you can just heal up at any point, and it's basically impossible. Like, your weapon will break before you can kill someone with this reduced damage. But the thing is, they are under no obligation to fight back, because the way they initiate the duels, they shoot back. They're under no obligation to do so, because for a start, there's basically no reward for PvPing. Like, the only thing you're going to get is their shitty loot, and oh yeah, by the way, the loot has a level system attached to it. So you can't.
no.
Wait a minute,
You can't
hold on.
You can't use certain loot unless
no.
you're a certain level. So
What?
when you kill higher level enemies or other players and you find some loot, and like, yeah, I get to finally use this missile launcher now. Oh wait, I have to be level 50.
So it's basically Destiny, but you have to kill players to get what? No, that's flawed.
So, in addition to that, if you kill another player, you get a bounty on your head.
Wait,
across the server. So if you're the aggressor in a duel, you get a bounty on your head saying that this person has killed players. Even though it was like, if you did that just out of nowhere, I could understand it. But the fact that both sides have to say, "Yeah, I want to duel," is completely pointless. Given also the fact that the only thing the only reward you get is loot that you could easily find somewhere else. There's so much loot to go around in this huge map that's only like there's 30 or 40 players in the server. There is so much loot to go around. There is no point. There is actually, the game is advertised on its multiplayer. This was the big selling point for the game. It is multiplayer Fallout, and it does everything it can to discourage you from killing other players. It makes no fucking sense. And
Wasn't it? I think I remember from the Inferno Plus video is that if you initiate if you start the offer for the duel, you are more likely to lose because when the person fires
that's exactly
back,
what I was about to get onto.
they do regular PvP damage instead of the like mosquito bite.
No, they
that
do
you've
the
done.
mosquito. They do the mosquito bite for the first bullet, and then that initiates the duel. However, the point is that they have the time to prepare because they know when it's going to start. So, for instance, let's just say you want to do like some mind games. Someone is shooting you for wanting to start the duel. They don't seem to give up. You just go about your business. You don't care because they're doing no damage. Let's say you're like, okay, I've had enough of this. You put on your power armor, you rad up and take some psychos and jet. You turn around, you take out your biggest shotgun, you just shoot him twice and you one-shot him. Like, the person receiving the offer for a duel has so much of an advantage because they get to control where the duel is, like when it starts, how the flow of it goes. It is so lopsided that no one wants to initiate that duel. It makes it just from a design point of view, it is a disaster. It is actually a disaster. It is advertised on its multiplayer, co-op, and PvP, and then the PvP just basically doesn't exist because no one wants to do it, and the co-op is pathetically easy because all of the enemies are scaled to single player. So, what is the actual fucking point of playing this game? I don't understand. The development is pointless. The levels are pointless, and Oh, that was the final thing. Yeah, I rewatched the E3 Bethesda thing, and when Todd said that this is going to be coming to beta, it stands for Break It Early Test Application, because he was kind of a bit self-aware and joking about it's like, yeah, okay, our games don't work first time. We realize there are some bugs, so we're going to release the beta to try and iron out some of these bugs. Yeah. But we'll get onto that. It doesn't matter how many bugs there are. To be honest, when he first says, like, yes, we are aware that our games aren't perfect the first time, so we're going to release it early in a beta format, and we're going to try our best to fix these bugs as soon as possible. I was like, okay, that sounds like progress. Then I read that the beta was going to come out 2 weeks before the release.
Yeah, no,
and, excuse me? I'm sorry, but your Bethesda's software development lifecycle is slower than the tortoise on dope. You really expect to fucking fix all of the bugs that are going to be in your game in 2 weeks before the release? It wasn't a beta, it was a demo. It was a fucking demo. And it's basically trying to sell more copies, I think. So
they run on Valve time.
They basically said we'll fix these when we get around to it. We'll release patches to the game as it goes along. But right now we're going to launch this shit show of a buggy mess we call the game and charge $60 for it. And I just
feel
it's the
regular AAA industry at work as usual. Nothing's changed.
Even worse, in my opinion, because they had the audacity to even say at E3, like, yeah, we're going to fix these bugs in the beta, and then fucking 2 weeks. That's not enough time. That is not enough time.
No.
So paying $60 for a game that could get better, that's the thing I don't have a problem with. When I want to invest money in a game, I want to know that I'm getting value for money straight away. If I have to wait half a year to even think about whether this game could be good or could be worth my time, then I'm not going to fucking spend $60 on your game, am I? So, from my point of view, Fallout 76 is an absolute unmitigated disaster, and Bethesda fall lower and lower on my expectations every fucking year. I'm really salty because they do make my favorite game series, Elder Scrolls. So it's a love-hate relationship really with Bethesda, because I do love that game series, but every time something like this happens, it just makes me lose even more faith in them, and it's just so frustrating as a consumer. Like, you can't be bothered anymore. Like, give me a reason to buy Test 6. Give me a fucking reason, apart from the fact that it's Elder Scrolls. I'm probably going to buy it anyway because I'm a fucking nonce, but it's just frustrating.
Yeah, no, I get you. I think it's very lucky that we don't have the kind of people who work on like Skyrim and Fallout that we do working on Doom Eternal and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's this is not anywhere near as bad as like No Man's Sky in terms of a launch, but it's fucking up there. It is so up there.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
In amongst poor launch.
I'm surprised it's gotten so many positive reviews.
Matt McMuscles is going to make a what happened video on Fallout 76 in like, if not this year, in like 5 years down the road.
Yeah. No, I've read also quite a lot of comments on some of these reviews actually saying, disagreeing with some of the points, and that's fair, like, people have their own opinions, but one of the most common things I found was, oh, you should try it with mates, and you should try it with friends. Like, I found it was really fun with friends. So, here's the issue I have with that. If I have to play the game advertised as single player in some aspects with friends to make it fun, it's not worth it. And B, I would argue that anything with friends can be fun. Like, let's be honest, watching The Room alone is fucking torture, but watching it with mates and taking the piss of it is fucking hilarious. Like, anything can be, any shit game can be good if you play it with mates. Like Alien vs Predator. Have you ever watched Crichton and Tomato play Alien vs Predator? That shit's fucking hilarious. The game is garbage, but because they played it with friends, at that point it's not the game that's making it fun, it's your friends. Like, if I wanted to mess around in a sandbox environment with my mates, I would play Gary's mod. Like, why am I going to spend $60 on this fucking sandbox and then only make it fun if I play it with mates?
If you have good enough mates, you could have a fucking colonoscopy. That's fun.
And make it fun. Exactly. So all of the comments saying you should play it with friends and stuff, like, no, that's not what I'm talking. That doesn't make it a good game.
Do
does
you
not make it a
okay?
good
Here's
game.
here's my response to that argument. Do you play games with friends and legitimately do not enjoy it if it's a game that you already like?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Let's just say you play Borderlands and
Yeah.
you enjoy playing the game in general. Wouldn't you think it would be more fun to just play with friends in general?
Yeah, usually.
Like that's the common argument. Like yeah, but if a game's solely dependent on then it's a problem.
Then the game isn't good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it just seemed, but that seemed to be the most common counterpoint as well to most of these reviews, and I'm just like that point isn't really relevant. So if you take that point out of the argument, what is there going for this game? Like,
Fallout 76 is a fun colonoscopy for you and your friends. Stick it on the back of the box. That's a blurb.
Yeah.
Colonoscopy for your friends.
That's gonna be
Fun for the whole family.
That's how I'm gonna describe it from now on. But seriously though, what is there going for this game?
Fallout
that's positive?
76, the fun, enjoyable pap smear for you and your family.
Oh god. Oh dear. Yeah, I hope this game dies after release and Bethesda will learn from their mistakes, but knowing them, they probably won't.
I now want Stupendium to come out with a Fallout 76 song where the chorus is like a finger in the bum. Fallout 76 is a bunch of fun. Speaking of just monstrous releases, we've gotten some images from the Hollywood Monster Hunter movie, which stars
That's a
Resident
thing?
Evil.
This is new to me.
In the topic cast, you see the picture with like 3 people in military uniforms and a Hummer in a Hummer.
I'll check it.
This is Monster Hunter.
That's Monster Hunter. We're
What?
starring the lead from the Resident Evil movies, Mila Jovovich. It looks like her and her husband's got some more work in the form of the Hollywood live-action Monster Hunter movie.
Wait,
I would like to remind people
Oh,
who,
I just saw
for
another
people
one.
who don't know.
Just saw another one of the articles actually.
Yeah.
Fucking laser tooth.
Monster Hunter
Laser tooth.
is not set in the real world in any form. There's no like. The closest it comes to is
not set in the real world, is it?
The closest it comes to being set in the real world is the crossover mission that happens in Metal Gear Peace Walker. That is the closest it comes to being in the real world, where Big Boss fucking finds a palico rowing on the river. It's meowing, and yet Snake can understand him. And then Snake goes off and hunts some monsters. And I am just so intrigued as to how the hell this is going to turn
It looks
out.
like a fucking war movie.
Hmm.
Like, with, like in the Afghan or something. Like, what? There's nothing to do with Monster Hunter.
Exactly. Okay, my theory is that Mila Jovovich's character gets transported into the Monster Hunter world and then comes back, because like there's a particular a particular picture in the article that looks like it's the projectile launcher from Monster Hunter World. It looks like it's both the grappling hook and the thing that fires the little pelts at monsters. Like, so my theory is that she gets transported into the Monster Hunter world, comes back, and like is basically the one who tells the military, no, you can't hurt the Rathalos with regular bullets. You have to coat your bullets with fucking this armor plating from this other monster. Like, this is the most fucking interesting movie adaptation that is likely happening. Like, how the fuck are they going to play this off? What the hell is actually going to happen?
I dread to think, to be honest, but yeah, I'll be interested to see how that develops.
This is the one. If you're going to watch any video game adaptation, I think it's this one.
I mean,
Because nobody knows where the fuck it's going to go.
Can't be worse than
Silent
Doom,
Hills. Silent Hills was going to be like the most like intrinsic, like fucking wondering where the fuck is this going. You know, what the hell is going to appear in this? I am more and I'm saying this as a Silent Hills fan and as a Kojima Productions fan. I am more intrigued as to where the fuck this thing is heading than Silent Hills.
Oh, okay. I'm a slow boy. There's a Doom movie. Hold on. What?
Oh god,
Oh, yeah.
we watched that on movie night. It is so bad.
With The Rock and Carl
budget.
Yeah,
A
Carl
budget
Urban
of 60
Dwayne
million.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the game.
1 star. 1 star.
It has nothing to do with demons or hell.
Yeah.
What?
Don't watch it. Don't.
What
don't,
is-
don't
okay.
waste your time.
I'd say watch it. That's an
Fill me
entertaining
in.
movie to watch with friends. Like a
True.
colonoscopy.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It can be fun with friends, like it was on movie night.
Fill me
Yeah.
in here.
Don't-
What is
don't
the
do it so.
plot about it that is even relatable to Doom?
It's some kind of. It's not related. That's the thing. So literally, the only reference to hell is that someone makes a comment like, "It's fucking hell down there." That's it. It's literally
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, that place is hell. You can't go there." That's it.
Doom 2019. There's a movie. No, that can't be right.
Nah, that's probably just Doom Eternal stuff.
Yeah.
No,
it's
this is
about-
on IMDb.
What?
Wait, what?
IMDb does
hold
games
on.
as well, right?
No. Here, I'll drop it in the movie cast.
Doom film 2019. Doom 2019. IMDb. What?
Yeah.
What?
Director Tony Gigolo? What?
Tony Gigolo.
Tony Giglio, who has done Chaos.
He hasn't done anything.
I haven't.
He's done Resident Evil Afterlife.
I haven't heard of any of the cast members before.
Okay, hold on.
I
Writer
haven't
has
heard of
12
any of
credits. The
this.
only thing of note, oh my god, he's written every single Death Race game, Death Race film except the first one.
Oh god.
The first one is the only one of note, and the first one is still fucking terrible. The sequels are worse somehow.
I'm looking at the cast in just
Apparently-
total awe right now.
Apparently they're in post-production. I've never even heard of this being in development before. What?
He's accredited as a director under 8 things. SWAT Under Siege, I've heard of that. Extraction, Timber Falls, Chaos, In Enemy Hands, Love, Sex and Murder, in brackets are short,
Soccer
and
Dog.
Soccer Dog the movie.
What the
What?
fuck?
What? Hold on. What?
I've never heard of any of these movies, by the way. But what the fuck is? I need to click on this. Soccer Dog the movie.
A heartwarming comedy about the friendship between the new kid in town and a soccer-playing dog on the lam from the dog catcher. What? On the lam from the dog catcher. Okay, so on
Link me this, please.
on the run from the dog catcher. This might be my first movie night movie. It's up to these two underdogs.
the Pee Wee Soccer League Championship game. Excuse me.
Stars James Marshall, Olivia D'Abo, I don't know, and Jeremy Foley. Wow, that's wow.
The more you know, I guess.
Storyline: a successful man with nostalgia for his days as a soccer player attempts to adopt an orphan so he can teach him all about his favourite sport. But soon after bringing the lad home, a new father is disappointed to discover that his lad is not interested in playing soccer. This creates tension until a stray dog with a remarkable talent for playing soccer shows up and helps bring his father and son together.
Hey, it's
There's
like
maybe
one Dom.
100. The tagline is there may be 101 Dalmatians, but there's only one soccer dog.
I still just saw that.
I'm completely lost. I don't know where to find this. I'm looking through and I can't find it.
Sorry, no,
frequent-
sorry. In USA, it's also known as How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Pooch.
What? Where's that? Where's that?
Details
line.
under storyline.
Oh my
It released on June 23rd of July 1999
How I
in
learned
Japan.
to stop worrying and love the poop. Oh, I also love that. Frequently
I
asked
am
questions. This FAQ is empty.
I am
No.
tempted to name this episode of the podcast How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Pooch.
Please do. Oh my god. There's only one user review as well.
That's so good.
Oh no, sorry, there's 23. It just only displays the first one. I don't even know. Alright,
Well,
yeah, that's a thing.
So yeah, that was to do with the Monster Hunter movie and the apparent Doom movie that's happening.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the cast in the Doom movie I recognize names? No, there isn't.
Yeah, none.
No, not in the new one. No. Hold on, Nina Bergman. Who's that? That sounds vaguely familiar. I have seen her before, but from what? Where have I seen her from? Oh God, I recognize Nina Bergman from Sharknado 3.
Oh my God! Yes.
Of course.
So, you know the whole thing of like in we're not going to get into like the nitty gritty or like any details beyond this, but in UK Parliament, when the rest of the government and the population have no faith in the Prime Minister, they will put in a vote of no confidence. This is the most I have no confidence in this movie, just from all the details that we've accumulated, especially seeing as it's in post-fucking production. Mm-hmm. So, this new Doom movie is going to be an unmitigated disaster. Probably. I will place a £5 bet on it with anyone. Any one person.
Don't want to
I'm
take
not
that
rich.
bet.
It's gonna be shit.
Also, I typed Nina Bergman into fucking Google, and that's what came up.
Yeah. Well, I just like right-clicked her name on IMDb. Known for Assassin X, The Way Shower, Sharknado 3 with the subtitle of Oh Hell No, and The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Wow.
What? Oh no.
What?
Oh no.
Oh God, what? What?
One second.
Oh no.
1 second. I'm not sure where the screen. I'm not
that
sure
first
where
image that came up thing you put in.
I'm not sure where this came. Is it? Is that from the game? That might be from the game.
What?
But there's an article called Actress Nina Bergman says there's a new Doom movie in the works.
That's not from the game.
It just has
That's not from the game.
It just has that image.
That's not from the game.
Wow.
That looks like Subnautica, but if it was in space.
Yeah, so for people who aren't paying attention to the video version, what we see is like a weirdly this looks like this looks like a fan film with a budget, to be fair.
Not even
still
a budget.
fan film.
This is stock green screen effects, but actually done right.
Yeah, and like a nicely well made eye prop that is kind of hard to describe. Either way, this is not filling me with any kind of confidence whatsoever. Like, I do not mind like a movie with some sort of a well-known name tied to it, and they're not like trying to drag in as many famous people as possible. Like, obviously, I like it when it's like, you know, new actors and all that you haven't heard of or have had very minimal roles just like show up at a thing and it turns out to be great. I can't think of an example like that right now, but so far this is filling me with no confidence in this whatsoever.
I fucking love this extract.
You know what movie does fill me with confidence?
After the previous Doom movie starring Dwayne Johnson from 2005 was a critical and commercial failure, it is surprising Universal would give it another shot. It's possible the new movie will be based on the most recent game, but Bethesda might want to announce the movie themselves during their E3 conference on Sunday. So, given the fact that they didn't...
Yeah.
Yeah, just seeing that image on Google Images with the name Doom attached to it, that does not fill me with confidence.
You know what movie does seem good, though?
What?
Gladiator 2, The Killer of Christ.
Damn it, get it right, man. It's Christ Killer.
That doesn't sound epic enough.
Christ
I'm
Killer.
sorry.
It's Christ Killer. One word. That's it.
I just like the idea of Killer of Christ as the title card. I'm sorry.
Metal Ear Podcast. Killer of Christ.
Okay, what the fuck is... This is another one I need to show you. So, again, another article to do with Nina Bergman announcing the Doom movie. I haven't actually opened the article, so I don't know what this is from. But this is the image that comes up with that article title.
What the oh no!
Hold on.
Keep your hentai away from my Doom. Please.
I need to reverse image search this.
Oh Oh my
Google
god.
images.
What the fuck is that?
I'm
Get it
trying to find
away! Oh my god.
So the very first link that pops up when I reversed image search that is "Welcome to Super Splitter,"
What?
and it's an advertisement for a kind of saw.
Oh. Wait a minute, what?
I don't know.
You're gonna need more than a saw for that, buddy. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay. Under pages that include matching images, Fortnite Infinity Gauntlet limited time mashup. Also, there's EA on the backlash against women in Battlefield 5. Wildlife poachers in Kenya to face death penalty. Page 2
For
of Reset
squid?
Era.
For tentacles?
Venom official trailer. Page 10.
Venom.
Sitting in Starbucks while black.
What?
Okay,
I've
we're getting
feeling
kind
these
of
are
off
like-
topic. We are getting kind of off topic here.
Far here.
I have a feeling these are just like, it's a profile picture from someone like just commenting under a thread.
Yeah.
I think that's mostly what it. I think it's just a meme image. I think we got carried away from a meme image.
Still,
It was just kind of
get your
unexpected when
hentai
I-
away from my Doom, please.
Yeah.
Volk, what if in Doom Eternal a imp comes up to Doom Guy and says, "Ooh, what's this?"
Beat the shit out of it. What
I mean,
else
you're
would
going
you
to
do?
do that anyway. Now you just have extra motivation.
I have a reason to stick my hand to his mouth. Leave it at that right there.
Ooh, what's
Can I interest you in our Lord and Savior Satan? Oh, yes.
God.
Speaking of which,
Speaking of-
actually,
what were you gonna say?
I have a image from when I was DMing Volk the other day.
Oh.
I downloaded some more mods for Civ, and some of those include weird and wacky religions.
Wacky, you say.
Is that Satan?
That is damnation, as the pentagram is the symbol.
Holy City for Damnation.
Lovely.
With 45
Speak-
pressure.
Speaking of unexpected fists down your throat, I don't know how long this event has been running, but something I very recently found out is Shrekfest.
Excuse me.
Oh no.
Shrekfest
You-
is
I'm
an
gonna-
actual thing.
I'm going to stop you right there. I don't want to know about this.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
No.
I'm
No,
good.
trust me. You want to know about Shrekfest. So Shrekfest is an event that is run by a large community of people. Primarily, the most prominent member being 3GI, which is a YouTube and website channel that has done a lot of they are good content creators. Essentially, they like to make like really out there dumb shit because that's what they're into, and they're relatively successful. The YouTube channel is sitting at like 21,000 subscribers, nearly 22 actually. And a lot of like YouTubers recently, like Game Grumps, Only Plays, and a couple of others, and like a couple of like old cartoon shows have had collaborations with a lot of like animators to essentially remake that thing in every single animator's own their own style for like own little segments of it.
Yeah.
There is a Shrek equivalent called
Oh,
Shrek
no.
Retold, which is being shown at Shrekfest, and it will also be hosted on their YouTube channel. And the trailer is in the topic session channel I told you. Trust me, you're gonna want to watch this. The very first scene that they show, Shrek sounds like he's being voiced by a genuine child, and it is amazing.
Shrek Retold official trailer. Okay, give me. How long is this? 1 minute 50. Alright.
Yes.
I already want to cry.
I already feel the hemorrhoids forming in my ass right now.
What the fuck? This is so disjointed.
I I'm in 30 seconds exactly. I don't want to click any further.
What are
I'm
you
serious.
doing in my spot? what is this? Oh my god! Come on! What the fuck?
I'm extremely interested in seeing this film.
I'm fine. I'll pass. End of discussion from me. I'm sorry.
I am extremely interested, especially seeing as I don't know for what credit he has, but Anthony Fantano has a credit in this.
Can we just go back to talking about killing Christ?
I mean, I feel like we are doing that metaphorically with this movie.
You're not wrong.
Shrek Christ Killer.
No!
What?
Yes.
Oh my god,
Stop.
that face! That face is the stuff of nightmares.
I am watching this fucking movie when it comes out. When it's out on their YouTube channel, I am watching it.
Oh my god.
You've got to put this in the video form of the pod, just so people can react.
Oh, definitely, we will. We're
I
doing a
have-
public service by putting this in the video.
Nope,
Wow,
Trip
Volk-
clicked off.
I pressed the wrong button.
I automatically assumed it's a Volk just left the call from frustration.
User has disconnected from your channel.
That was me trying to find the topics the cast channel again and just clicking on the wrong channel. But no, that's gonna haunt my dreams tonight.
I'm
good.
fucking going to bed anyways.
Speaking of which, it's
Well-
fucking 4:30. So much for only going for 2 hours.
Fuck
Going
it.
for 3.
Yeah, why not? It'll be fine. I'm
Hope you
trying to
guys
think of a
have
good
plans.
segue for this, but I'm
About your
struggling.
salty green nuts.
I mean, do you genuinely want to talk about this little meme?
No,
I
do
have
we
problems
do we
with
want to
but
wrap this up but with the questions from the Discord server?
We will get to that in just a second.
There were-
I
there
do
were questions.
very
There were actual
very
questions.
briefly want to touch off a
Two
couple
main
of things.
questions.
A couple of things. So the PlayStation Classic got its full list of games, and the list is kind of
Yeah,
for
it
its
is, isn't
price. For its price, and I've seen what the interface is like for the games, and a lot of the like little details about it. It's not worth buying at all in my mind. So with every game, you get one save slot, and the games on there are Battle Arena Toshiden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Rayman 1, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 1, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms. Now, to me, the games that are worth playing on that list are Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Intelligent Cube, Metal Gear Solid, Oddworld, Siphon Filter, and Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms. Every other game in that list can easily be replaced by something better, way better in my mind. And notice how I'm a Resident Evil fan. I know I specifically did not mention play Resident Evil Director's Cut because Director's Cut is fucked. Director's Cut had music licensing problems, and the whole point of the Director's Cut was that the original Resident Evil's cutscenes, especially in the beginning, were censored, not with blurs or black screens or anything. They just were cropped and framed in such that they didn't show a lot of what was happening, especially in the opening cutscenes, so that it isn't especially clear as to what's really happening. And the Director's Cut was originally planned to show them uncensored, but then they just shipped with the censored versions anyway. And also the music in Director's Cut is worse all round, particularly that of the basement theme, which is so infamously terrible. It's a meme. It is just a fucking meme. I managed to get Seth Orvan to play the basement theme during one of his XCOM streams, where the enemy side was just so bafflingly like stupid in essence. So you kind of get a feel for how odd that music is. Also, yeah, the UI for the PlayStation Classic is just garbage looking, and you only get one save slot per game. I will ask this of you guys. If you, I don't know what your experience is with the PlayStation 1. But
nothing at all.
Limited.
Okay. There is one game that I feel needs to be on that, and it's Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That is the one game, especially nowadays that like, yeah, the remaster's coming. Yeah. Like that is the perfect. That would be the perfect game to put on there, especially seeing as like Sony is helping a huge amount with the funding for the development and marketing. That it would. It's such a stupidly missed opportunity to not put Resident Evil 2 on this thing, and also the price point is garbage. It should be £50 no more. Like £90 I think it is. It's either £80 or £90 in the UK, and the list of games and what you get with it is just not worth it at all. So yeah, that was just like a brief little touch on that. The other brief little things I want to bring up is two games that is getting Steam ports. That being Killer 7, which is a very weird little title from the person who made Deadly Premonition, their little studio. No, sorry, that's not right. That's wrong. Sorry. It's the person who made Killer is Dead and Lollipop Chainsaw, Suda51 and his company Grasshopper Studios. And I love this because it's such a weird niche little title, and it's so freaky and got like weird nonsensical plot threads that it's one of those games where it's like you'll buy it on a sale and think I should have played this sooner because it's just that dumb and fucked up. I doubt any of you two have any experience with Killer 7 at all.
No.
Do you? Fair enough. And the other game that's getting a Steam port is Sunset Overdrive, which I will buy because it looks fun.
I didn't hear too many good things about it.
It will likely get a discount at some point. But yeah, that Sunset Overdrive is already on Steam. Well, so is Killer 7, but it's not released yet, I don't think. Yeah, and then the last thing I want to touch on before we move to questions is Layers of Fear 2 got announced, which I personally, Layers of Fear was a crock of shite.
Yep.
I don't know where this announcement like started. I didn't think this game was that successful. Like for a shitty PT ripoff, I didn't think it would warrant a sequel at all.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you on that. One thing I do want to mention, I don't really want to talk about it too much because I've not really got authority on the subject, but I think it's just kind of funny. I'm just going to put a couple of images in. That's Blizzard's stock price after Diablo Immortal was announced.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
So the first one, that really sharp drop at the end is the relevant one.
Wow.
Jesus.
And just the other one's the one over the course of the month. So yeah, I just thought it was worth mentioning because nothing like a good idea is to take an exclusive mobile game to a PC gaming con which is filled with a bunch of fans that have been waiting for the next Diablo game for ages, and tell them this is going to be exclusive to mobile, and then say, "Do you not have phones?"
They actually they just played a Valve on their community.
What was
we were expecting
when he said that?
We were expecting Valve to release a new game, and what they do? They release a card game.
Yeah.
Artifact. Get that thing out of here.
I still feel Artifact is nowhere near as insulting as the,
it is
a mobile game.
It's comparable.
Yeah. Like, it's still the whole thing that, like, surrounded that Q&A session and everything of, like, the one guy coming up and saying, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Yeah.
and fucking the one guy going up to her to just like ask, "Is there any plans to put this over to PC?"
That's the
and they just straight up from the get-go went, "No, there are no plans."
At least they're honest.
And the entire boo of crowd then led to them saying, "Do you guys not have phones?" Which no.
What was going through his mind when he said that? I guess he's just being really defensive. Like he thinks this is a good idea. He thinks this has potential.
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
He thinks
understand.
a sassy. I feel like he thought, or like the people on stage thought, it would be a sassy enough response that it could turn the crowd over. No,
not necessarily. I think it was just being him defensive. Like, to be fair, he's probably put a lot of work into it. He's probably proud of it. I don't think he doesn't understand that you are pitching this exclusive mobile game to a bunch of PC gamers. Like, no one is going to be interested in this. And it was framed as being the most important announcement. It was left till last. Like, they were basically doing this whole like, and that's basically it from the con. But we have one more thing to show you, and it was this. And when people
there's a lot of rumors and speculation going around. Yeah, well, there's a lot of rumors and speculation going around that Diablo 4 was going to get announced immediately after this, like how Microsoft did it with their Gears of War mobile game. They immediately followed up with Gears of War 5. And a couple of other people, companies and developers have done this primarily over E3s and all that sort of
and
stuff.
The Gears of War pop final.
Yeah, that was the mobile game that they're pushing.
But at least they made it up by actually announcing a game. This was just, it was left till last. It was hyped up as being Diablo, and then it was this. And they're somehow shocked about how poorly this is received. What did you fucking expect?
Well, to be fair, there are substantial rumors that have been more or less confirmed by a lot of inside sources that Diablo 4 was going to get was going to show a CGI trailer. But then the Diablo team, the actual development team, said, "No, we're not ready. We thought we would be ready to show something to fans, but we've just not got something substantial enough to show." And it was pulled last minute, and by last minute, it means anywhere between 3 months before this event to the day of.
Okay.
So there's substantial rumors that something of Diablo 4 was going to get shown off. Everyone has known that Diablo 4 has been in development, but it has been in troubled development for a while. Two of the people that were at different points basically hired to be the director of the game, both those people have dropped, and the current director of the work in progress game at the moment is not known as far as I'm aware.
Well, this fiasco definitely
Diablo Christ Killer.
Stop.
See, that kind of fits. That sounds like that sounds like a Diablo phone ripoff made by the people who are making Diablo Immortal. And Yongyi released a video not too long ago. I actually can't remember if it was today or a couple of days ago, but there's a picture that was on NetEase, who is the people who are making Immortal. NetEase's website that got taken down not too long after uploading it because Chinese fans who are also translating it into English for a lot of the Western fans basically took the screenshot that they found and basically broke down a lot of how the microtransactions are going to work, and obviously the fans are not pleased.
Why? I don't get how game companies can't get it through their thick skulls that microtransactions do not appeal. I guess it's just
unfortunately they do
because of the money.
Yeah, they work. Yeah, that is a good distinction to make. They work, but are not appealing to, I would say, not vocal minority, but vocal half of a player base.
From my personal opinion, microtransactions can make or break a game for me. I have chosen not to buy games because of microtransactions. So I don't know how
a lot of people are since the EA bullshittery. A lot more people are purposely avoiding games with microtransactions because it's become such a thing where it's become a lot more obvious how predatory they are.
I guess it's because they still actually work to some amount that they keep doing them. But
This is the thing. I have no qualms with microtransaction stuff being implemented in the game. If the game is free from the get-go, it's when the game is paid from the start that I have serious issues with it. Like, freemium games work, and they can be brilliant, and they can be non-predatory, but 9 times out of 10 they are, and putting freemium economies in, like, $60 release games is still fucking disgusting. This isn't that, but still, it's still not good.
I also don't mind microtransactions that are purely cosmetic. Like, but only if you can unlock those skins manually as well. Like, exclusive skins are kind of bullshit, but it's the pay-to-win stuff that annoys me. So I don't mind things like League or Path of Exile or Warframe stuff, because you can just grind for most of the stuff. And it's free to play anyway, so that's fine. But I guess EA is the classic example with Battlefront 2, but it's not the only one. Buying a full price game and then also having to buy fucking that was almost the reason why I didn't buy Shadow of War, to be honest. I almost didn't get that game because of the microtransactions. I'm glad I did in the end, and it's been removed now anyway. So
I personally see that as still being an issue because the game was still designed and balanced in with the microtransactions in mind, and now they've removed the microtransactions, and I have played that game since they removed the microtransactions, and it's like a kind of a power gap when, like, you know, a country comes in to, like, defeat the establishment and then leaves, and it just feels so. It feels like a core component is missing, no matter how corrupt or predatory that core component was. It feels like there's a vital piece of the puzzle still missing.
I am going to stop you right there a little bit, but I think that Shadow of War did end up fine in the end.
That's true. No, I enjoyed the game. I do enjoy the game. I just didn't like the fact that they tried to put microtransactions in it in the first place. Like, of all the games to put microtransactions in, Shadow of War, single player RPG, what?
It didn't fit, but in the end, it ended up working in terms of balance.
I kind of disagree, because I felt that the game is so incredibly grindy, especially like very close to, like, the launch state. It was
I'm gonna say right now, the only time that I felt like there was a part of the game that felt grindy was after defeating Sauron, and this is gonna be a spoiler alert, but even after that part, like, I mean, it was mostly just fortress defending, and even that was just getting captains to level up, and then once you cleared through all of your areas, that was it. That's the end of the game. So after killing Sauron, there's nothing you have to do. The game's over at that point.
Yeah.
So, like,
I still from, like, you know, the fight leading like, essentially the mission of, like, you know, defeating Sauron, and afterwards I felt that it was too. I just felt it was too much. So I personally didn't bother.
That's the end game, though, to be fair. After defeating Sauron, that's where the end game picks up, and the end game, there's no structure. That's the only time
I also, like, I
way.
found out what the ending of that game is, and I personally really did not like it.
Ending. Yeah.
Yeah, I really did not like that at all.
Yeah. It kind of shits all over the lore.
Just all over the lore, it makes personally made me feel that the entire story of both Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor were kind of ultimately pointless. In my mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm kind of mixed feelings about it, because at the same time I quite like what they did. I like bringing, because I'm a fucking huge Tolkien nerd, by the way. I've read all of the books, like History of Middle-earth, the stories of Beren and Luthien, Silmarillion and stuff. One of the, like, it's up there with Elder Scrolls in terms of, like, how much I love the Middle-earth and Tolkien's universe. So, seeing a lesser talked about, or lesser, what's it called? I guess shown in media, part of the timeline for Middle-earth was actually quite cool. Like, I enjoyed watching the takeover of the Black Gate, the siege of Durthang. That's the fortress. The siege of Durthang.
Yeah.
That was fun. But there were obvious mistakes and also obvious like artistic license kind of things. For instance, Gollum shouldn't be in the game. He shouldn't be in the game at all. He's born for another 500 years from when the game is set. So
He also serves literally no purpose.
oh yeah, that's
Just keep in mind, he's there for probably about 5 minutes.
he feels shoehorned into the game because he's a known character and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he isn't in the actual timeline. He isn't born for another 500 years, and then he doesn't get corrupted by the ring for another 500 after that. So
Also,
yeah.
Talion apparently knows Gollum from the get-go.
Well, he is quite a famous. After he gets corrupted by the ring, he is kind of a well-known character by most people. But the entire point is this is like 1,000 years prior to that. Like he isn't even born. He shouldn't be in the game.
It's like, but the thing is, it's like they've been acquaintances beforehand, is what I'm getting at. Like, they've dealt with something before. That's kind of how I felt.
As in from
in
Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War?
Shadow of War.
In Shadow of Mordor, it was Gollum knew of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I haven't played Mordor, but...
that's why, because they did meet in Shadow of Mordor. That's why, then.
Yeah. Well, it's... They, specifically... Fuck, what's the name of the actual character you play as?
Talion.
Talion, that's it. Talion meets Gollum there, but fucking Kellogg's Brewery is known to Gollum. Gollum knows who he is. He knows, like, about him and the rings and everything. And it's just like... and also when fucking Gollum showed up in Shadow of Mordor, when I first played it, the second his fucking little face peers up from the rocks in that one little cutscene, I went, oh fuck, it's Andy Serkis, and just went. I kind of knew what to expect from the rest of that game with his role, and I knew that he would show up in Shadow of War as well.
Yeah.
And
he served no purpose in Shadow of War. Honestly, I don't even think he needed to be there.
I'm still in the mindset of, like, when it comes to Shelob in Shadow of War, the reason for her being in any kind of, like, human corporeal form or whatever it was, it's not that it was, like, pointless or anything. I just felt it would have been cooler if she just remained a big fucking spider the entire time.
I think it was literally just so that she could have that story with Sauron, with that relationship with Sauron. And that's it.
Well, I still feel you could have, like, had that and, like, maybe shown, like, properly, like, how her human form looks like towards the end of that little storyline, but, like, having her be that woman, that humanoid female throughout the entire thing was... It personally, like, aesthetically didn't work and felt
it's also
shoehorned.
Completely false in the lore, because the last spider that could change their form was Ungoliant, and that's fucking ages ago. So yeah, from a lore perspective, it's incorrect. I don't know. It is very mixed feelings because overall, I really do enjoy the game, but from the lore, like, as being such a Tolkien diehard fan, I just can't help but cringe at some of the decisions to do with the story.
Yeah. I'm gonna be completely honest about it. I didn't give a shit about lore and the storyline about the game. I literally cared about mechanics.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's why I enjoyed the game, even remotely.
That's completely fair.
So
I do enjoy the game from a playing perspective. It's just I'm not the biggest fan of the story direction, purely because I'm such a Tolkien fan. Yeah. On the other hand, though, it was really cool to see fucking the corruption of the Númenórean kings when Sauron offered them the ring. Like, because you only read about that in the books, and to actually see that portrayed, it's fucking awesome when the Númenóreans come to in front of Barad-dûr, and Sauron surrenders in front of them. I'd read about that so much, and to actually see it in a cutscene is so fucking cool. I enjoyed that one.
You can fill me in on details here, but the one with the king that got, like, power hungry because of his daughter getting married to that one prince.
Hammerhand.
Yeah, that was a nice scene to watch, actually. Kind of showed awesome. The way that it was portrayed was like perfect for showing how corrupted he became from the ring.
That was fucking awesome. So I don't like the fact that they attach those stories to the Nazgul, because the Nazgul technically is still unnamed. So again, they took creative license with that.
Wait a minute. No, okay, there was one thing in the story that did bother me. What was that one the last one that you take? The one you take his ring from. Yeah. That was the one thing in the lore that I knew about, and it actually bothered me.
Yeah, no.
Because that doesn't work.
I didn't like that at all.
Wasn't he not a ring wraith? Like, excuse me? I remember there being a problem there with it, but wasn't it that he wasn't a ring wraith?
There's many problems. So yeah, he was
the main one though.
The excuse was, so in the books he was a bearer of the One Ring, but the ring betrayed him and he got killed for it. Mm-hmm. And the excuse they got up in the game is they just found his body. Sauron put a ring of power on him and just made him come back to life and made him into ring wraith, which is complete bullshit. That's not how it happened. It just, again, it felt like he was shoehorned in there because he was a known character already. So yeah, I didn't like that one at all. I didn't like the fact that those stories in general, like even the one with Sauron surrendering, which is fucking cool, was attached to the Nazgul. That thing did actually happen, but he didn't surrender to a king that would then become a Nazgul. He surrendered to Ar-Pharazôn, who became the last king of Numenor. Again, the cutscenes with those and Helm Hammerhand and his fucking rampage and that whole, they were so fucking cool. I kind of wanted to forgive it, because even though I disagreed with the fact that they shouldn't be the Nazgul, those cutscenes were so well done, and the story behind them is actually phenomenal. So I kind of forgave that, to be honest.
That was the redeeming factor to it, really.
Yeah. Those stories should be told in context of something else, but those stories themselves were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of redeeming, maybe we should try and redeem ourselves with the question time.
Nice
question time. Question time on the
I haven't actually looked
podcast.
At these because I haven't. We
haven't got many from this one. We've got 3 exactly, but honestly, I'd rather 3 than none. So, first mate Wankstain asks, "Will you have guests on the podcast?" Of course, we'll fucking have guests on the podcast. We have a myriad of people that we could ask to come on the podcast. Come in, and come chat shit with us for a week.
To having some guests.
Yeah, of course. We've already got some names in mind. I have a couple of people that I know for a fact will want to come on. It's just a matter of organising times and all that sort of stuff, which we can get into the nitty-gritty ourselves later on and behind the scenes and such. But yes, we will definitely have guests on. A certain bean joke telling streamer will definitely make an appearance soon. I can promise that.
That's gonna be fun.
The rants will have no end.
Oh boy!
if we were worried about how long we could stretch a podcast out for time, Anna will definitely assist us in that.
Yeah, we're going for 3.5 hours.
Yep.
I need to go to bed.
Same.
This is going to be the
It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 5 a.m. basically.
I need to eat food.
Funny enough, 1/3 of the hosts of this cast has asked a question himself. He says, "Who has the biggest wiener?"
In all bold.
I'm afraid it's Trip. It's definitely Trip. Trip next.
The first mate Wankstain asks. Question.
Yeah, first mate
I'm sorry, but that's
Trip next question.
Yeah, that's fucking false though. 1.5 inch wonder over here. No, you can stop with.
Oh, right. Don't rag on yourself like this, man. Come on. Self-deprecation is all of our ways of humor, but you're pushing it right there.
It ain't a lie though.
Okay. The same person who asked who has the biggest wiener asks lull emoji. Sure, I guess. Yeah, I think we'll
That's
all
a
in the same boat with
question.
that. Squire Kangerson asks, "Why are we still here?" Just to suffer.
That's two
I
questions.
mean, yeah, we can't answer that because you've taken one line to ask two questions. I feel we're gonna have to disqualify you for that case. But he does ask a third question, which because he has asked it in one line, we will try to answer. He asks when Dad will come back.
Never.
As soon as you get proper grammar.
GW set my peepo cry emoji.
As soon as
Dad,
you learn proper
unfortunately,
grammar.
will not come back. However, Daddy is here to stay.
Oh, God.
Oh no, I don't know if
Hang
I
on,
want that either.
Let me break out the 1.5 inches.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
Sorry,
so-
that's a meme now. I just said that as a joke, and now that is become a meme.
Well, there's something that I haven't actually told you guys, but throughout this entire podcast, I've had a pen and notepad in my hands, essentially writing down possible titles for the podcast.
Oh no!
I think we might make this also a tradition. So at the end of every
1 inch
podcast,
wonder.
I will tell you guys what we could possibly have as titles. So we have Digital Extremes is the Invisible Kid of the Game Awards. We have,
I really wanted to be the date or the
Christ
fucking-
killer.
Oh god! No, I want that. No.
Let me get through this list, and you guys will decide. At some point, it doesn't matter whether it's in recording or outside of it. But
In post.
we also have David Cage doesn't understand oppression. Green and salty, just like Microsoft. I couldn't get like a solid like one of these. There's a PvP PVC, PvP on PVC, PvP designed by PVC. We have Fallout 76 is a fun colonoscopy for you and your friends.
That should be like one of the chapter names. If we have like chapter names in the descriptions, like where things start. Fallout 76 is a colonoscopy for you and your friends. It should be a chapter name, I think.
Oh yeah.
How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Pooch. Then we have Killer of Christ, Shrek, Christ Killer, 12-inch Wonder, and just now I came up with 1.5-inch Christ Killer.
Yes.
1.5-inch Christ killer.
Right, so any particular leanings as towards the name from any of you guys? I'm a big fan of Green and Salty, just like Microsoft, and 1.5-inch Christ Killer.
I'm a fan of 1.5-inch Christ Killer.
Yeah, okay.
1.5-inch Christ Killer. We going with that?
What have I done?
But I'm also kind of biased towards David Cage does not understand oppression.
Oh, I'm always inherently biased towards that, but I feel like that sort of stuff is going to come up enough in the podcasts themselves that
Anyway,
it will just be always an underlying theme.
That's going to be
more than a
an
title.
ongoing thing, yeah.
So yeah, I have a feeling the title is going to end up being 1.5-inch Christ Killer. I am perfectly happy for that to be the foundation of this project, of this endeavor.
Oh god.
We will
What a
sow our
first
seeds
fucking-
with a 1.5-inch Christ Killer.
Jesus, what a first fucking recording.
It's almost
It's
like
one hell
4
of a-
hours.
It's one hell of a
I
start.
said this is gonna go poorly. I didn't think that this podcast would be fucking sick.
Nice. I like that.
I did a pun. We're
Yeah.
only gonna pun.
Yeah.
You're all welcome.
There, now you have that as a soundbite.
I will specifically extract that section of your audio and replay it 5 times before I play the ending music.
Fucking ass.